No, what was that? Yeah. Jeff coming home? He won't be here. He didn't come much, does he?
I have finished COVID, completely done with all of it. Karen's not quite. And Ben and Amanda had it. I mean, it's been through the farm big time. And, but their kids are not feeling well. They've got other stuff.
Yeah.
RSV and all that kind of
Those are our
crap.
house, yeah.
And they just decided that on Allie's side of the family, which is Jeff's wife, she's got a brother that's got some liver issues. I mean, he takes all kinds of medications and can't, they just decided they aren't even coming down. She went to our folks last weekend and they're just gonna stay up there. I mean, her folks weren't too thrilled about them coming to our place with all the crap that we've had.
Yeah.
And then going back up there, you know how that stuff goes.
Yep.
You just, it's part of what we live in today.
How often does Clay come down here? Quite a bit?
During deer season,
Well, just throughout the year. I knew he'd come down for hunting.
yeah, that's about all it comes out. You're talking about Amanda's brother?
Yeah, with Clay thing,
Yeah, he's a,
This will be here.
whenever everybody gets everything set up and then he's ready, you can't find him until he's all
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we went out there last spring and golfed at Buffalo Dunes.
Did you?
And he's been wanting me to come out. Well, I get out there and I go, where you at? And he goes, Alabama. And I go, oh. He goes, where are you at? And I said, on your course. He goes, oh man.
Where'd you get acquainted with him?
Up there at K-State.
Did you?
Through the boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like your boys and Austin Greedy and all them guys.
Don't start this one yet. Make it quick.
You got a call.
Number one. Yeah, of course, they got another one.
Your bridge is actually on the agenda for today, Mike.
Hopefully some good will come.
Yeah.
Well, I thought she was closing that door.
All I heard was the.
He said he thought we were closing that road. It was up for, Mike, we start our meetings with the flag salute.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You can stand in front of that camera.
Yeah, I watched one here a week or two ago and I realized you can see right in my ear hole.
Do you want me to kind of shut this with all that going on?
No, it's all right.
Okay.
Unless it's bothering you. Okay. If it's too loud and you can't hear what's going on.
Okay.
Guys, Mike has some public comment. Mike, you can sit back there or come forward wherever you
I can, if my voice will carry it. Two concerns, and both of them are Southwest 90 Road. I mean, one, the bridge that's already closed, or broke, or whatever. That, and it's basically just off the highway, a little, maybe a mile, not quite. I know Brian has told me that, that you can't do much at all. You've got some problems with FEMA money, and if you put in a culvert. I mean, to me, in the 60 years that I've driven the road, and I know that means nothing to FEMA and anything like that, it has gone over one time, that bridge. That was because there was the dam broke between Innocent and Charles, and it just put the water down there in a big hurry. And that's the only time I ever even remember the water ever going over that bridge, period. I could be wrong, but that's the only time I remember. It was up I went to lunch and it was going over. When I came back, it was down. I mean, it just boom, boom, like that, up and down. So I don't see a big flood threat with that bridge. And that's why I think that a culvert, and I mean, I don't know all the drainage issues and acres and all that kind of stuff. I understand that. But I would think a culvert put in there, clean out. I mean, if you can get dirt from one side of the road or the other from the landowner, I don't have any interest on either side of that. And just build that up with one or two culverts, it'd be great, it'd be done. Because here's the problem with what we've got besides the bridge being out. You go on Southwest 90 Road, and Ralph Arnett's house sits on Southwest 50 Avenue. And I mean, some of you may be familiar, some of you know. But you go from Ralph's house to the intersection south, and just turn and go east less than a quarter of a mile. And that bridge, that's where I'm taking all the trucks. And I will tell you that it's mine. The cattle trucks are mine. The feed trucks are mine. I mean, when I walk out of here, you guys say, well, this is his own problem, and I cannot, but it is what I do. And I do pay taxes, and my taxes are current. That bridge, the truckers are starting to complain to me, well, when's that bridge going to go out? Years ago, they laid 3 of those big bridge timbers on it, and they're starting to break off with the traffic that's going across it today. No great big shock, I know that. I would like to suggest that bridge, and I don't know what the drainage at that one is not near as great as the drainage at the one up by the highway, okay? But, our family owns ground on both sides of that bridge. If there's a way you can put a culvert in that, and you just take however much dirt you want, I would prefer you get the dirt from the south side of the road and not the north side. But I will work with you if you think you've got to have it from the north side. I think the south side's got more silt and more stuff we can just and not hurt things as bad. But if we can put 1 or 2 culverts in there and build that road up to where it would support truck traffic, build it up enough. And this, what you've got is where that bridge is, you've got a hill on either side that's maybe one side is taller than the other, but you go a short distance and you're going to go up 6-8 foot. Maybe that's an exaggeration, 4 to 6 foot. Okay, 4 to 6 foot is probably realistic. 8 might be a little bit of a stretch. But you spill some of that in and bring that road up where the culvert is. It's stuff that it doesn't take specialized equipment. A backhoe, a dozer, maybe a carryall or something like that. And I think that, I can't solve the first road, but I think I can, with some engineering and things like that, I think we can do something on that bridge with the culvert before it goes, and then we're all screaming at that point.
How wide is that bridge, Mike?
You mean as far as across the road?
How long is it? Is it over 20 foot?
No, it's not over 20 foot. It's one of those little ones.
Now, when you say wide, are you talking from ditch to ditch, or are you talking?
No, just over 20 feet. Okay. Over 20 feet, they're on the state's list of bridges. So whatever it's called, I can't even think, my mind left me. But anyway, over 20 feet, they're on the state's list of bridges. And so under 20 feet, then
it's close. I really don't.
I think that's a shorter one, though. I think that's it. And I don't know if you have them over your territory or not, but they're one of these wooden ones that, like he says, has the planks over the tracks.
And you guys have seen it. I don't know whether it's 20 feet or not. I'm sure it's probably.
Well, if it's less than 20, we have more chances to do something with it.
Right.
I guess that's what I'm.
Yeah, and then the other factor is the drainage. And I understand, Brian texted me about some drainage issues on that first one. And it does, I hope my helmet hits somebody.
You got long arms.
The drainage, I know the drainage goes a long ways north on the bridge that's out pretty close to the highway. I understand
that one is just over the number of acres that drain through there to keep us from doing something on our own to that bridge right there.
Okay.
That's what we thought. Well, quick, simple fix. Let's get this one done. Get that
because my concern is even if you put a shoe fly in there to get us by, you're not gonna want my trucks going across there.
No, but we have the fix coming. We've ordered a concrete whatever thing that's going to go in.
2 months out or something like that.
But just like everything else now, Mike, we can't just, it doesn't come, you know, there's a shortage on people working, I guess, everywhere, and so that deal's
I mean,
on the way.
I just wonder, you know, I've got cattle on both sides of the road,
Right,
of the second bridge, the one closer to Ralph's house. I can put fences, I can, you know, if the ground's not frozen, and I can get T-posts and electric fence posts in the ground, I can build around where you guys got plenty of room to work. I mean,
but it
frozen
shouldn't
ground.
take much, if that one doesn't have a tremendous amount of drainage through there, that shouldn't take much.
I mean,
You
the
have-
drainage off of it, as I envisioned it, it comes off of the quarter to the west, to the east of it,
Yeah.
a quarter, 1/4 up here, because at the top of the hill, you know where those oil wells are, up there? The drainage either goes from those oil wells sit almost on the hill, and that drainage either goes to the north or to the south from that hill. So you've got 1/4 coming south, and you've got 1/4 coming from the east. That's what hits that.
Can we have that and check that?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, when we,
So you're thinking that one would be, we'd be able to get on that one
We'd have to do
quicker
this.
than.
I think that's our quickest fix, and like you said, if that one goes, cause you're just now
I'm-
starting moving cattle in.
I'm, to put it politely, I'm SOL.
Yeah.
And there, you know, we talk about him having a 15-mile round trip to get in there anyway, that's the closest way back through there. That will make it not real pretty at all, because then you go the other way into your place back there.
At that point, I'm either coming a mile in further, and that road's not any good.
You're not gonna
Or
try
I go
that,
clear, I go clear down to Harold's house, and that road, and then you don't want me crossing that bridge.
Well,
The
with
one
the
that's
roads,
west of Harold's
the
house,
roads
east of
aren't any
Harold's.
good. You can't get a truck through there if you're running if we start getting some rain one of these days, so it won't work, it just ain't gonna work.
I
I
mean,
think that's the reason why, though, Mike, we went with the concrete structure, because that, if we was going to the bridge, he's talking years out. That's why.
That's significant more money.
And, yeah, it's a lot more money, and it's gonna take forever to get it, so that's why we went with this concrete structure, and hopefully, I thought we was talking 2 months, maybe we're not. I think it's 2 months to get that one put in on 90. We're gonna set a concrete structure in there, instead of culvert.
So we need to bring in, what's his name, Mike and that other guy to check that.
And do that study, and if they said tube will work, we can stick a tube in.
We can, we've had that one done pretty quick.
well, that's just a thought that runs through my mind. I mean, you'll have to get someone who does the drainage, and I know that all that stuff's out there.
Yeah, and we've got a guy now that does that for us, and that started about the time your bridge went out, we found a different guy that would come in and take care of it. Hey, you can leave that open, Sheena.
Okay.
That way people
And-
don't walk by here and think we're having some closed
And-
door session.
You're not gonna hurt our feelings getting rid of the bridge. If we can put a tube in, I'm good with that.
I mean, the other thing that I
That's
would
what we
like,
want,
the
yeah.
other thing that I would like to know is, is who's the FEMA guy that tells you what you have to do on the first bridge? I may just go ahead and write a congressman and a senator and just say, hey, this is a farm to market road. I don't know if they even use that term anymore.
I think somewhere, somebody knows.
Somebody, this is a farm to market road. And, we can't, if you can put in, and I don't know all the rules, but I also know that sometimes senators and representatives can get things done that we can't, just
Right.
You're right.
because you're above them. And I don't know if I can do any good, but if you can get me for the FEMA guy that's saying, this is why we have to do it because of these rules.
I don't know that it's just one guy though, Mike, it's a FEMA regulation that we're tied to.
Well, I
And
understand
that's
that,
what
but
KDOT is.
somebody has to be accountable to that.
Right, there's somebody that's making that rule.
And, if it's not a person in the FEMA district manager,
That's-
I don't know, I'm grasping at
Because
straws.
the reason we couldn't put tube in here is because the water's there, there's too much water, they wouldn't allow us to put it in there. So again, that's the same, actually it's a box culvert with a tube on each side of it, right? For the overflow. It's gonna be on your 90 road. Both of them.
Mike, do you have a FEMA contact? Is there, or maybe you haven't done this, okay, so who do you deal with whenever it comes to FEMA situations?
Richard Longberg.
Okay, and where's he out of?
I don't know. He's just helping me with the 2019 FEMA stuff.
Okay.
What is the question? I just heard you guys talking about bridges.
Well, he wants to approach them about why we can't put and take care of that bridge on 90, the Cather Bridge.
Mhm.
He's wondering why we can't just go ahead and stick a culvert in there to make it where they can pass through there. Why we have to have all the studies and stuff done. and then they're gonna regulate what we can and cannot do with that bridge. He's wanting to
Oh,
reach
Well,
out.
it's a high traffic road.
So you wanna talk to the Division of Water Resources, because they make all of those rules as.
Division of Water Resources.
Yeah, they're the ones that, tell us what size of opening that we can do based on the flow.
Now, is that a state company or a federal company?
They're probably gonna be federal, but they're gonna have a state division.
Hell, I figured that.
But you have a number or something for somebody to keep this with you?
For Division of Water Resources,
Yeah.
if you wanna come down to the office, we can
Which office are you
run bridge all the way down in the basement.
in? Okay, all right. I will,
But we are working on getting a shoe fly done. I'm just waiting for, I had to get a temporary easement from the landowner, and he's sending it back. And when we get that, then we'll have a detour for you.
Well, not for trucks though.
Well, we put a big enough pipe in there, probably, them big thick
Keep
bolt
getting through
lines.
there.
Yeah, I know, but it sounds like,
Well, I
if we
mean,
get that west one done, that'd be a lot quicker.
Yeah, and what he's asking for too, Mike, and Mike Bennett's our guy that takes care of everything.
oh, okay, Mike Cather's my name.
You know where Ralph Arnett's house is at? Okay, do you know where the Cather Bridge is at? So it'd be back to the west of that bridge. Gosh, what's that, how many miles? 2 or 3 miles? back?
Okay, the house is 3.5 miles. That's from the house itself, it's,
Couple?
yeah, it's little, it's just about a mile, maybe a mile and a half.
So from that, there you go.
From Southwest 50 Avenue and Southwest 90 Road, you're gonna go back east just less than a quarter of a mile, and there's a bridge right at the bottom of those little bitty hills. That bridge, I'm having to take truck traffic, pots and stuff like that for cattle across that bridge, and it's just getting beat up. And, I mean, my suggestion is I've got ground on both sides. And if there's a way that we can put a culvert in and build that road up to make it where that culvert would handle truck traffic, you know, you've got access to dirt on either side of the road. I would rather do the south than the north, but we can talk about that when we get out there.
But he's saying it's under 20 foot, Mike, machine, it is, but we probably have to have a water study to see what they have to
Well,
decide.
yeah, we'll need to check the drainage, and like what we just did with the Hall Bridge, I had Mike Aldrich go survey it out and size it, which didn't take any time at all, and then we put pipes in it.
Well, Oliver was out there doing something.
At the Cather, because we're putting it, yeah,
He did
at
something.
Fort Bridge,
Can you get him out there pretty quick on that other one maybe, have him look at that one?
potentially, yeah.
And maybe
The
that-
problem is if we start getting rain, if that bridge falls apart,
Uh-huh.
he can't get it. I mean, the roads are not good.
And the other thing, Mike, on that bridge, and Brian brings up an excellent point, that ground on either side of the bridge is kind of outline type ground, so now it's easy to work. If it gets wet, we're all screwed. And, I mean, I think that you're right, and that can change in a week.
Yeah, well, that's not going to, but it can. I've been watching pretty closely, Mike. and it's-
Unfortunately, I have too. But I mean, you make a good point. That, I mean, it'll work now,
Yeah,
and I probably should have been here a month ago. I mean, I'll be honest with you.
well, it takes time, Mike. It's, you know, to get
To
that bridge.
mention the second bridge, I understand that.
Yeah, and I don't travel down that way. I don't have any business running down that road, so I don't go that way very often. And with the other one closed, there's no need for me to go that way at all, so I don't go that way.
Well, you get your point across pretty good, we all know that, Mike, but just think if Charlie was still around, he'd have been in here.
You really want to know who got more action than Charlie?
Stretch.
No. Pat.
Oh, well, yeah.
Because there was guys wanting to get Pat to move back down there as soon as that bridge closed. Because they said, that will happen. Pat got action, and I'm in all seriousness, you know, I wasn't even gonna bring that up, Jeff, but if you wanna bring it up, she's the one that got action.
But there's only so much we can do though, Mike. That's,
Yeah, I
you know,
understand.
if we could have stuck a culvert in that, we'd have had that done immediately, but then,
You can't.
you know, losing
And
FEMA
I
funding is
just
a
would,
big
I would,
deal.
I would like for them to just come down, and sometimes I think they need to lay some eyes on it and see.
Well, Mike says there's not near as much water going through the,
Well, in my mind, the drainage area isn't as great, okay?
Right.
On the second one, I mean, and
And-
I understand the hoops, the Division of Water Resources, and I understand all of that, but I mean, just as I look at those things, and I know that that ditch on that first bridge goes all the way back north.
Clear back up and through.
Yeah, I mean, it's all the way up to almost, well, it's up there, that pond in
Well,
Madison.
but see, I did ask, what happens if we don't pay attention to what they're saying? And that's when it got brought up, well, then we lose our FEMA funding, and that is huge, we can't.
Well, I mean, I understand that, but sometimes, my only point is, I don't wanna, my only point in getting somebody as a representative or something like that, if I can tell them this is a farm to market road, and, these kind of things, and, maybe sometimes those guys do things that the rules, they come closer to, yeah. I
See all those pins?
Yeah.
Those are bridges closed that we're dealing with right now. And they all happened like that. They come out inspected and shut them down immediately. So we were all at that point thinking, let's put culverts in these. That's the quick fix, let's get this done. Can't do it. Because that was our initial deal. Put pipes in all those guys, let's just make them work.
On the easy fix.
And the other thing to think about is, remember when a lot of these bridges were built? I'm not saying you remember, but think about when all these. I didn't say that way. I didn't mean to come out that way. But think about when they were all built, and then think about where we were at with equipment and stuff.
Oh, I'm my biggest enemy on it.
Well, even my pickup, and then I put 2 bales on the back of there. I'm over limit on most of the bridges I travel over anymore. And so we've just beat those up in the last 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
And they come through and shut them down. This was a KDOT deal, right? That's who inspected that.
Mm-hmm.
And they shut them down overnight. We were done. And so if a pipe would work, that's what we were trying to do, is get that done.
So if that bridge is south of the 2 ponds, can you imagine if those 2 ponds wasn't there, how much water come through there?
Well, I imagine it's coming through now, because I don't think anybody's fixed those dams. But I know
Oh, really? They never did fix it?
And I don't know, I probably shouldn't even say.
That's been since the oil boom when that went through, didn't it?
It was,
Because they were selling water out of there during the oil boom. I remember that.
I don't know.
Wow. I just-
But it's been, yeah, it was since the oil boom when that dam went
Well, Mike, we'll have, Mike, if you get a chance, come out there and take a look at what he's talking about and see what we can do to start.
out. And do you want my contact information? I'd be glad to meet you out there
Are you
somewhere.
gonna go down to the office? Just leave it with Sheila if you are.
Okay, I can do that. Okay.
And get that phone number
But
and
there-
make some calls.
There's a couple big, one of them's supposedly under 20 foot, so that's a big plus.
I don't know that for a fact, but, that's something that,
If it's over 20 foot, it's not, nearly as good.
but I do know that the acreage dumping into it just isn't what the acreage is on the first one.
Can't be, I can't imagine.
No,
That-
it can't be.
Yeah.
It isn't, period.
Which is really key when it comes to being able to put some pipes in it. If there's not a lot of drainage, then we can kind of do a lot more of what we want to do.
Right.
Alder will let us know.
I mean,
And Mike, I'm sorry, I do have to move on with the agenda because I've got people, I don't mean to kick you out here.
I
It's
will,
good
really,
conversation.
you can get me sometime today after this meeting, you can get me the information as far as who to talk to at this Division of Water Resources and who somebody with the, if I contact the representative, who they can talk to too, right? Okay, all right, okay. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate you being here.
I'll see you.
Appreciate it. We got to leave, stay if you want.
Move on.
Yeah, you can sit and listen to me. See you, Mike.
Mike, are you gonna go down there right now, Mike?
I'm no, because Sheena's gonna be, I've got
Like
her.
what?
She's got about 15 minutes if you can run down.
Okay, I'm gonna go run errands, you'll be down there in 30 minutes? or
Well, no,
so?
she's not next on the agenda. We've got some others in and then her, so.
Oh, okay. All right,
I
I'll
can
just-
meet you right
Okay.
now.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Heather, how are you?
Jeff, can hear you.
How are you?
Good.
You couldn't hear me in the hall. I was asking how you were.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Huh?
We're good for
That's
what?
why we got exchanged minds. How are you doing?
Morning.
Good morning.
Carol.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Brian requested white and they put in green.
Well, that was for they do it for Veterans Day. Then it's for
I didn't realize that.
yeah, Grandma here. That's
Yeah.
cool.
That's cool.
Looks like he's straight on breaker.
I hope
You
you
got
guys
no
didn't
identity.
hold her the first night, so.
Yeah, he did?
Mm-mm.
He
But
did.
he
Pretty
said
good
that
night.
was it. And Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
The health department continues to give preventive vaccines, including but not limited to influenza, shingles, pneumonia, tetanus, school-required vaccines, and COVID vaccines. The number of clients we've seen in the health department from the last quarter, which was July 1st through September 30th, was 1,235 visits. The month of October, we've seen 798 visits. The aid to local grant reports were completed in October for the first quarter of the state fiscal year. I'm continuing with interviews for the part-time RN position and attendant care worker positions. The next coalition meeting will be held on December 7th via Zoom. We changed it from Fridays to Tuesdays, just because some of the places were doing vaccine clinics on Fridays, some of the other health departments in the coalition. And COVID.
Did you send an invite out to them?
No,
Okay.
it's not the executive board.
Okay,
It's
fine.
just
Sure.
administrators.
Okay.
COVID-19 numbers, active cases as of Friday were 32, and we added 6 since that report, but I don't know who can come off. I'll do that later today. That puts us on our total visits for the year. So far, we're at 4,477 visits.
Is that up quite a bit?
That's in 2020, we had for the year, we had 4,080 visits. In 2019 for the year, we had 5,530.
Coming back a little bit.
Yeah, so, which I expected 2020 to be down with
Yeah.
having stuff closed. Do you guys have any
Are you
questions,
seeing
information?
much other sickness come through there?
Not really.
There's
There's RSV and stuff I know that the hospital's seeing, so
That's why I didn't know if you guys were seeing some of that stuff.
not that we're aware of. How's that?
I think everybody's afraid to come in and get tested, probably, is what
Probably,
it is.
yeah.
If I show up, I've got a sniffle, somebody's gonna test me, and then they'll find it, yeah. I think that's what probably the big part
Some
of it,
is, yeah. And we do have 2 classes in quarantine and at 2 different schools, 1 class at each school, and there's a daycare that is quarantined.
Yeah, my kid's in that category again. This is the second time this year. You know, we made it all through last year and then nothing, and this year we've been in it twice.
Mhm.
And I have another one with it.
We'll be out of school this week, so.
Yeah.
I hope that slows it down a little bit, yeah.
I hope so too.
But they're supposed to test when they come back next Monday. That class is, they're supposed to, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'll check with Lisa,
I think
because
that's
they
what
do
I
all
heard.
that out there at the school to see what.
Well,
their
this is
plan
down at the grade school.
So,
It is,
yeah, she still does the testing, or has her parents do it, so,
okay.
but,
I still ask and wonder, when is it gonna go away? And it, you know, at some point, I would hope that you won't have to keep up with
Right.
this stuff.
we hope so too.
But I don't know that that's
They're
coming.
putting a committee together for, what they're calling it the endemic. They're including several health departments. I mean, you had to volunteer to do it. And with KDHE, but we haven't had any information yet, just that they're starting. So, no one
Would
from
you
our,
wanna be on that board?
no.
Well, yeah, they need loud vocal people on that board because, you know,
Yeah.
at some point, you can't do this. You can't keep doing
Somebody's
this.
gonna say
No,
no
you can't,
at some
something's
point.
gonna, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I say you need loud vocal people on
Yes.
there to say, okay, yes, we understand this is a bad deal, but
So, Darren?
No, it's the health department.
It's health department.
It's by the health
Yeah,
department.
but you can speak for us, eh?
isn't it people like you that are on there, right?
Yeah, they had people volunteer, like Sedgwick County had some of the bigger that can spare some staff. So,
I ain't sure that's, not saying that's in our big city,
I know,
and they, for the smaller communities.
So where are they meeting for that?
that I don't know. I don't know if they'll do it, you know, via Zoom or team meetings or,
And I'm just thinking like your staff. That's where I'm at, is how this is.
well, we don't have a nurse today. I have one person out, one nurse is out sick today, so, we had to cancel all our appointments for the day. So, hopefully, I'm interviewing someone tomorrow, so I hope,
Somebody local?
yes,
Okay, that's good.
so for the part-time, so I hope.
Cool. Well, and I understand. Sick people,
Right.
it is killing some people and stuff like
Right.
that, but yet in the end, where's the cutoff?
Right, I think everybody's thinking that
Yeah.
at this
Yeah.
point. this point.
Thank you, Heather.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
any
Enjoy your
questions?
work down there.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask her something in the hallway though.
Oh,
It won't
yeah.
take her long.
Okay.
I'm telling you, whoever's filming this was before me, had to gave money to the police department, the sheriff deal, that, you know, the police want money. They had to. I've got 14 phone calls from, I think that number right there. Would you like to donate to the highway patrol? I probably told him the other day, I said, sir, I don't mean to be mean. He kept talking. I said, sir, this is a Harper County phone number. I said, it's a government phone number. I'm not going to donate you no money. He started around
Are
one day.
they from Kansas?
What's that one? that-
Kansas Highway Patrol or?
I don't know.
I had a phone call in the clerk's office with it too. It's probably been a
And, but I
month.
told him no, and soon I told him no, I said, this is a Harper County government phone.
Mm.
And he started rattling on, he didn't face it, he just.
Well, when we first went back home, the phone number they gave us out at our house was, it was either Deb South Pictures, whatever, or it was the theater. I can't remember. The first one was the theater or Deb's picture deal. And then, so we called and said, we can't have this because they keep calling us for movie times. And so when they switched it, then it went to either the theater or Deb's. But I mean, either way, we had somebody's used number.
I know this was, because I've had several phone calls asking for the same lady. Yes, what's her name there? I said, no ma'am, she's in arrest. She goes, well, she's in arrest. And I said, well, this is Harper County government phone. And I said, he goes, oh.
Probably an older person who scammed and gave money. And
I guess.
you can probably Google it and see if it tracks back to somebody. It'll show up to you now, but it may have some history.
But whoever that lady was, she had to donate it because, what's her name there? No, it's not, she's not. Well, you can probably help me. I said, nope.
That national do not call list, is that dead now? I mean, did that never even work? I don't know. And you know, whenever you get those calls and you answer them, you just do this click. I wonder if they're just checking for live numbers, and then they sell
Did I
it.
hear that click? I didn't know.
Yeah, but they've already found out that that's a live number. As soon as you answer that thing, it's a live number, and then they sell that to somebody else probably.
I get really old.
It does.
Because this here, I know it's the same one as out of North Carolina. She's downstairs, she'll be back here shortly, I think.
You just tell her she's got a couple packages in the office.
Mike, I guess we'll come on up. You're next on the list, buddy.
Okay.
How you been?
Okay.
Good. Hey, I'm just gonna let you know while you're sitting here, Dean. This last week, I've had about 3 people stop me and say thank you for making our roads great. 3
Well-
different people from out in the community since of the roads that
So-
I've been years.
Who's grading up by Freeport? Is that Bladen? Is he doing that? Got a compliment on him for doing
Trying
that.
to send him
He's doing
a, send him a message.
So, you may want to pat that kid on the
Are
back.
you having?
And
Yeah.
he's here, one here was down here, the other was over that way, and they said,
Yeah, pat those guys on the back and let them know that people are talking about it. In a good way. Let the people tell them good stuff.
While we're waiting for Sheena, you guys can look at the welders we found.
yeah, I talked to your guy down there a little bit ago.
He said we're going up Wednesday to try to get one of those and do the paperwork.
I kinda thought we had to wait till the end of the year.
I think after Sheena tells you what she's got to tell you, I think you'll change your mind on that one.
Okay.
Did they have some laying around, some welders? You don't have to wait on them?
No, yes, no,
They've got some, huh?
you know, you have to wait on it.
But they have some in the,
They don't think they got Miller, they got, Lincoln.
I'm going.
Oh, it's going.
all right, where do you want to start? Grader inspections?
Grader inspections. I did forward all those to you guys, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so they said they'd give us another week, which I think we need more than a week because this is the week they're giving us and we have 3 days, but I'll talk to Sean about that.
Oh, hey, by the way, to do great, those water leads,
They did not work, they were the wrong size.
really,
Yeah,
but they're over 100 foot, I bet.
I don't know. Yeah, they said they were big,
So,
but they weren't.
We're only gonna go 3 days to get these cleaned up and ready to go.
It's supposed to be the 22nd today.
Well,
We
it
just got
took
the
him,
report though, didn't
it
we?
took him 3 weeks to get me the report, so I
Whoa.
think that we should have 3 weeks. That's me. So, I'll talk to him about that.
Do we have the guys working on getting them fixed?
Yes.
and everything?
So we do the repairs on those, right?
We do as much as we can, so we don't get, you know,
Extra
charged
labor,
with their
so
labor
I
and all
don't
that
know
other
if she's
stuff.
stuck with that kind of bill.
The question I had on these, as we own our own now, so there's one on here that's got a lot of dents and dings and that type of stuff. And so and I don't want any names or anything like that, but can that be tracked back to one person that's hard on equipment?
Is it 154?
I can't remember what the number was.
We don't wanna know who it is, just.
No, yeah, and I don't want to know who it is, I don't want to narrow it down, but I just think in the future, when we own our machines, if we have something in place to make sure that if it's one guy, I understand accidents, I tear stuff up a lot, but I pay for it myself. But there was one in particular that I thought, oh my gosh, how many bent ladders, dinged radiator covers, and broken windows and stuff on one machine.
There's a lot of carelessness.
And maybe it's used a little tougher down in ditches where trees are at, so maybe conditions are a little bit different for that person. But it just makes me wonder, so we own our machines now, do we have something in place that if a habitual person that is hard on machines, do we have something in place that they get that up written on their file?
Recommended, I mean,
As long as you're not putting them in places where it's gonna happen, I mean, 'cause you're.
Right, yeah, and that's, I totally understand that. If we're working around a lot of trees, you're gonna have some of that stuff.
that's where them big tree saws are gonna come in handy too.
Yeah.
When they're not.
But you know what I mean, Mike, if we've got somebody that's really abusing equipment, maybe
Yeah.
not greasing it, not maintaining, you know, like a broken fuel cap was on one of them, different things like that. And again, I understand accidents happen, but sometimes they seem to happen to some people more than others. And so I don't know what these guys think, but I hope we've got something in place to put that on those
Well,
people's
they need to be
files.
stressed that we're gonna, like I said, we're owning them, so.
They need to treat them like that.
Well, but we need to make them last,
They have to
especially.
take care of either way. I mean,
I know, that's what I mean.
But all of them need to clean up and then like a blade or two, then the fiberglass stuff, we're not gonna do that with that. I mean, we'll just have to get on that, I'm assuming.
Unless they need a new door, we'll put a new door on it or something.
and they're gonna charge you 3 times as much for them to fix it as for us to fix it, so. It's just whatever Jim can and can't do.
Okay, do as much as we can, because that's pretty.
That's,
Pretty good list.
you wanna give me the
That's
good
it.
news? You got a
That's
whole
it.
lot today.
Oh, I did have good news. So, I talked to Sean about extensions for the mortarboards, and we found 4 used extensions
Oh.
for $250 a piece.
That
That's
pays for your
sold.
welder right there.
Yeah, did they show up yet? Then we got those on the way, right?
They should be. I thought
Okay.
it's like, yeah, it's sold. That's like
Yes, sir.
10% of the price of a new one.
It's a
So.
no-brainer there.
Yeah, right? Who wants to pull a pin today?
I do.
Or,
No, I want
that
to.
hall bridge,
Hall
isn't it?
bridge.
It's
Oh, it is the hall
yeah.
bridge?
It is.
Get it?
Look me at the
going on?
tab.
Wrong one.
I'm sticking in there. Where you putting it in here?
I've been sticking them right there so we can use them again because we're going to need them again.
You don't know that.
When they come inspect your territory, we probably won't. Cool, good job, guys.
It's exciting.
And he is very appreciative of that.
I'm sure. He was very unhappy with it for a very long time.
Yeah, somebody, I won't mention any names, has been pushing me on that one. Get that tore out, okay.
New grader, the last one, we're still waiting on it. He said tomorrow or Wednesday, so probably more like Wednesday. I did talk to him. Melinda and I had discussed, she asked for some documentation for this lease extension, and I didn't have it.
Oh, for
So I didn't have any. When I reached out to try to find some from them, they're like, well, it's not really a lease extension. Now you're on month-to-month rent payments. So they've been charging us rent. And Melinda's like, I don't know if we're supposed to be paying, right? She showed me the minutes and I said, okay, well, I didn't know that. So I had to go back and talk to Sean, and they're refunding the rent that we paid. So that's like 40 grand.
Yeah, that's 40.
So that part was good.
Yeah, because I remember that it was gonna let us use it till they got here for nothing, no charge.
Yep.
Gotcha. And they still,
It's still good.
no, that's a big deal, and I just really wish they would have sent me some sort of documentation, but, let's see, refunded. I do have the concrete bid, we only got one bid.
What time we have that? Was that
I
supposed to
believe
be?
they're supposed to be 10 a.m. I had sent her a message saying I forgot to put it on my original list of topics, but I didn't get a response from her, so I don't know. Because they're usually at 10 a.m. is when those are open.
We don't have that on the agenda though.
It should be. I
Does
know,
it have to
I
be- it has to be
sent it to her
agenda.
to amend it.
Don't allow people to have a chance to come in here and listen to it if they want to. Nobody will be here, but I mean, it allows that opportunity.
Do we have to open it today? Or does it say we have to open it today?
I mean, today's the date that was set in
That
the
was all it
meeting.
did. So we'll just do it real quick, because if there's only one, it won't take as long.
There's only one. The other ones actually sent me a message and they said they declined. They're not participating in public bids.
Okay, well, that'd be the only conflict if they wanted to, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Hold on, it's not 10 o'clock yet. You can open it.
I'm not gonna open it.
You're excited.
I'm getting ready to. Go ahead. Dig it for.
The Sandwich Rock, they are done, assembling that pad, so that rock is ready to be hauled. I think, Darren, did you say something like they told you by the end of the year, or, okay?
We have done by, it'd be, he said, if we could ask him time schedule, he said we'd have it by the first year, it'd be great. Because I know they have some kind of time limit, they have to get that rock off of it.
Okay,
So that would work on Eagle Road if they come through there and clean that stuff up, because it's what, 2-3 miles from that spot.
I always-
I didn't think we did have a date to get that cleared off.
You really-
They gave us a date for all of them, they gave us a date when they like to have it off, even on this pad up here, and then, because he said it was up there, what, 2 months or something like that, he wanted that cleaned off.
that last one, yeah, that one was 60
He
days.
said this way, we'd have this in by January 1, it'd be great, so. But I would suggest, what you guys already talked about, is if you have something close, we ain't gotta haul that stuff from there, clear up here would be,
We got that mile of Walder
You
in.
know, all the way down Eagle Road.
It's gonna be a lot
just
less
save a lot of
trouble.
transportation,
Still got a mile left of Corwin to do.
so. That'd be great. I have, it's a pretty good rock, I mean, I'm sure one pile's good.
It looks dirty, they kind of scalp the ground a little bit to wash it out. I think it's great. I think it'd be fun.
Doesn't look like big chunks. I didn't think it was all like small stuff.
Is it pretty big pad? Is it just as big?
Yeah,
This up here
it
was
was a
huge.
saltwater disposal pad, so it's probably between 5 and 10 acres. It's a pretty good pile down there. Have you been down to see it, Mike?
Yes, I have. That's-
You have the picture?
You got it?
I can't think of his
Oh, I
name,
don't
he
have
called
it.
me.
I
He's
can
called
grab
me,
my
Sean.
Well, I'm at the back far enough to see.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's going to be real all right. Yeah, I drove by it. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's another
Oh,
picture
man.
there too.
Wow.
I just know we turned some down south at one point.
Why?
Just never
We
turned it.
did. Yeah, there's trucks going to bluff, that's hauling rock and shell out of there.
Yeah, they kind of scalp the ground on that's why it looks as dirty as it does when you're cleaning it up.
It'll be all
It'll wash it
right.
out. It'll wash it out.
Yeah.
I have 2 permits, to lay water line for cattle. They do want to trench across the road. Mike went and inspected them both and approved them both for trenching, if you guys approved them for trenching.
And they're not, well, one, I know it's not a high travel.
Neither one of them are. They're not. Those roads are what they say. They told me if somebody's going down that road and it's not me, they're lost. So,
No, is this the same one, or I mean,
No.
same person?
no,
Oh. I
Two
know
separate
about- I know
ones.
about that.
Right there. There, probably.
Yep.
Yeah, one the other day. What?
so there should be a map on I'm showing where it is.
Yeah, but I mean, road wise, I don't know what's.
No, there's not like that. Oh, right.
Well, one where he was doing it, he's like, oh, I've already done that. So they are also asking for those fees to be waived, since it is for ag use for cattle water,
Somebody, so you want a separate motion probably for these?
probably.
What do you want to make a motion for? I guess this is the northeast quarter, section 2, 33 south, 5 west.
I'm making that motion.
Do we need a better address than that? I mean,
Be nice to be on the road.
there is northeast 120 Avenue, looks like it's south of northeast 40, so just south of that intersection at northeast 40 Road, and northeast 120 Avenue, looks like it's just south of there, not too far.
I thought he said it was right on the intersection, basically.
Yeah,
It's just right
It's
south
right
of that
there,
intersection.
yeah.
So, somebody want to make that motion?
I'll
For
make
that to be, you did?
Mhm.
And to waive the fees, right? So, all in favor?
Aye.
I guess that's the best way to describe it, is using that intersection. I don't know how
The
else.
road would be best.
And this one,
Some roads in front on that one.
oh, 3rd mile west of 40th Road on 90th Avenue.
Western.
He did good, he's got his GPS coordinates. in.
Yeah, I told him to go put a pin on it, and
Yeah.
he did, and it was great.
So that's exactly where it's at, so.
And you're good with it, right? Okay.
And I did tell this one, we would come back and inspect them.
Yeah.
Yes, so it was originally, this one was dicey, because he was like, I'll just go across the intersection. No, you won't, hold on. So he's gonna tie into an old capped off line
Oh.
that is over there, so he's just gonna go across one part of the road.
And it is rural.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, somebody want to make the motion to waive the fees and allow trenching of the road here for the 3rd mile west of 40th Road on 90th Avenue.
Somebody.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is that one rural too?
But you need to let them know they will be inspected and then you need.
Yes, they've been pre-inspected already, except Mike went down there
I
and
told
looked
them
at
one,
them.
but I'm sure everyone knows.
And they will inspect it after, so. We already talked about welders.
We just talked a little bit about it.
They're just gonna go look at welders, see what the lead times are, see what kind of,
There may be ways out there north. I can tell you
what
that
else is
right
going
now.
on.
They're what?
There are ways out, well, they may not be a Bobcat, the one I bought was 3 months,
Really?
2 to 3 months, but a Bobcat may not be.
But if they have the Bobcat, it'd be all right to go ahead and get the one that they've.
Well, we asked Wendy, because it wasn't on our list.
Equipment, right. It's
And
not
we
on
had,
there.
and we had to wait till the end of the year, we could use cash, the remaining cash we had.
So we know what's left in that budget to be able to use.
Right.
Because it's not a capital equipment, we was not planning to buy it.
Right.
And if you go buy more steel or, I mean, we're set good on our cash right now. We're set real good. But you have to remember, we're taking a lot of your steel out for next year. We took a lot of that budget out, so you need some cash left over, but you have to have a welder too.
Right.
And I'm okay with buying a welder, it's just, do you wanna wait to do it in December?
To make sure we've got that cash sitting there in case something else comes up.
Well, I mean,
She's
it's
got this
November
$40,000
22nd.
coming back from the Caterpillar.
Right, which that
That's
was
true.
out of public works, but still we have
But, see, this has to come out of the bridge, special
special
bridge.
bridge, so there's 60,000 in that steel line item, and there's 50,000 in the lumber. We are over a little in others, but I was gonna
I
have
would
it printed
prefer
off, I
waiting,
just
like you
didn't
said,
get it.
until we get to that December. I mean, and we're not that far away from it, really.
Right, no, which is
I
another
would-
reason I want to see what lead time.
But my question is on this, if we approve it this year, we have to pay for it this year. We can't order it and.
Right.
Right.
You don't think that company will have it in stock?
No.
Some stuff they don't.
Not bad.
I wouldn't,
They
I
used
tried to
to
buy
all
Nick
the
from the
time.
other day. I tried to buy Nick.
And I got lucky, they had one in the warehouse when I went and got mine.
Last time I was up there,
In
it's been a while
the
back.
January.
Huh?
In January. Well, I bought mine, which mine's a Legend, which is quite more than these, but it took 2.5 months.
Through that company.
Hmm? Same place.
What's the
Which-
company that is?
Very yes.
Oh, okay.
But the Bobcat's a little more, I'd say, readily available. I mean, they're cheaper than some around. Which one are you looking at? Do you care? I mean, whichever one
Either
they do.
one, I think that
He liked the
that's,
bigger one better.
you like the bigger one better. So we are looking at this one in particular because it has the remote start stop, and when you're underneath the bridge, it's
I think that'd be great.
that's pretty awesome.
Well, he needs to take the paperwork anyway. I'll have him go ahead Wednesday up and see when we could get
This wheeler here is gonna be substantially more because it's electric fuel injected.
That was Price was 55, 75,
1,000.
61.
61 cents.
Does that have the remote start? Oh, you had that same.
Yeah, it's just like the beefier version of that one.
See what the lead time is?
Yeah.
Look at them. I don't mind EFI. The reason I don't is if you got a remote start, the EFI, you don't have to worry about choke. You just push the button and it starts.
But it's also here, something to quit working down the line. You probably
Well,
know
we said it, it's like that.
The more of that junk you get, the more it is to.
True.
I forwarded these all to Richard and he reviewed them. He didn't finish reviewing them or getting back to me as far as I know. I was still waiting for that final email, but that's all the paperwork. I did forward them to you as well, yes.
That's the leases.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so, and then I'll have one more. These are the 4 that we have and then the one more. So if we just want to wait and sign them all at the same time after Richard's done.
That'd be great next week.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's all I have. Other than that,
So I think on that one line though, since it's all digital, I think you can raise and lower the temperature too with this.
Oh, with the remote and not have that. But both of them.
Hey, Mike,
Well, see, this,
no,
no,
we're the one that's
this
sand. You know, if there's some- Well, no, we were working
Maybe
together.
your mind's not set.
I don't know who the new road grab guy is, but he went east and west by Wayne's, by his mailbox, and never hit the road that would have taken him back to Danville.
He
Never
missed
touched
the
it.
road.
And Wayne's like, and that's the road that really need to be hit. So,
Okay, well, Bladen's knew of it.
I know, and I told him.
Oh, yeah.
I told him that.
If you get us some new road maps of what area he was
did you
in.
bring
Oh, he wasn't upset, he was just curious why he didn't hit that road on the way up there and going back.
It's basically the same map.
With the people.
It's just Monty's here, Bladen's here, Cody's here.
I sent them out already.
And it's still a work in
Here, I called me
progress.
this
It's
morning
not.
and I sent them out.
When you get them all
already.
set and stuff,
So,
I like to have a new one.
Yeah.
That way I know who, when people call and ask who's grading where,
Yeah.
you like to have a new one?
Oh, they are.
Well, it doesn't matter to me, usually I just tell my case, somebody
I thought they were-
come from the guy that in this area, and if I don't know who it is, I'll
I think I wanna get
the
a
rock
quote
purchased
on
out
the
before the
legend
vault
too.
today.
Not the legend,
Starting today. So they were
Maybe
doing a
it's
bunch of
legend.
sanding
It's
for
legal,
last.
But I did give
No,
him a
it's
chance
a
on a
Miller.
couple other places up there, so, yeah.
I think it's legend.
I'm there day long.
Is it a little bigger than that?
No, but it's where you can adjust the temperature, like I say, without getting out of it.
I think he'd like that, if he could do that without.
Saves a step. I know how much about what it's gonna be, when you buy 8,000.
Yeah, we can get the new maps made up once we get them ironed out.
You okay, we can put it in here to make sure we.
Oh,
Okay.
that's fine. Yeah.
I guess we're done.
Now you gotta wait for
That's,
this little
that's bad if they don't have them in stock, because usually they have a lot of them.
Trailblazer.
I know.
It's Trailblazer.
Some of the stuff, I don't expect people to pay like that.
Yeah, it's a Trailblazer 325.
I'm not gonna pay. Inflated prices for a spare.
Yeah.
You might see what they,
325?
yeah. EFI. And see if that controls the temperature too. I think it does, but I didn't buy one, I didn't.
You guys wanna approve, employee benefits while we're waiting?
If you get prices, you just will see what they're gonna do and what this does for its temperature, just not just start, if it does the temperature too. So I think you can adjust, you can adjust the temperature, start it and everything from that one.
It should actually stay in here.
But this one won't, because you gotta do it by dial. The Trailblazer is all digital.
He's got them all. Okay, can I get a motion to approve employee benefits for $52,078.52?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye. See, it's all done, it's all digital, you just turn a knob, well, that's, instead of the handles having to manually do it, you can do it electronically. So, it's more expensive, but it's pricing.
couple of transfers, and I don't need a motion for this, just a consensus from you guys. There's a transfer to correct a budget violation in Fund 027911 emergency tax per conversation with Christina. You remember that? We wanted to talk about that. That's for $11,538.28. You guys okay with that transfer?
Yep. It gets 911 out of trouble.
And then the next one is the correct deposit of quill overpayment should be credited to the account the item was paid out of.
Which one's that?
It's to correct the deposit of quill.
Oh.
They quill overpayment, so it's whatever their office supplies and stuff come from. Should be credited to the account the item was paid out of, and that's for $102.80. Again, don't need a motion, just a consensus. You guys are okay with that?
Mike, who you got in our grader now? Where's your grader, Mike? Who you got in our grader spot?
Cody. You still need it?
Okay, so minutes. You guys want to hit those real quick before 10 o'clock? The November 1st, Hannah's got corrections on those. Somebody will make a motion to approve the November 1st minutes. Jeff made the motion. All in favor? Aye. November 8th minutes. Again, Hannah's made the corrections on those that we requested. Any other additions or anything to that, guys? If not, I entertain a motion on that. All in favor? Aye. And then the November 15th minutes. There were a couple things on here that I saw on the email. Did you change on the, okay, so there's
No,
a,
that one's the same.
yeah, these look good, and I really like these, so,
I went through them, I didn't.
I try to keep it simple.
yes,
Simple's great.
yeah.
Less.
Are you gonna continue to be the one taking the minutes? You don't know? Okay. There was one deal where we went into executive session, there was a little bit of a time thing on there. I remember it was
I looked through it, I didn't see anything, but you're a lot better at hitting that kind of stuff.
well, it
It
was
says the, we turned at 12, is that 12:42, 12:47, that's probably about smelling.
well, see, the thing I was looking at is, that, so this one, different than the other executive sessions, says that Commissioner Hornoff motion to enter into an executive session for 20 minutes, subject to discuss 40 personnel matters. Justification for closing meeting, blah, blah, blah. The open meeting reason was 11:31. 20 minutes from 11:16. It's not 11:31.
I'll fix that.
But so,
And I can do it, do you guys have executive sessions today?
Yes.
Then I can change it and print it.
16, right. So that was that one thing, so maybe we don't have to have that, but just know, and return at 11.
Yeah.
They look good, they're actually, yeah.
Okay, so that- And there was one other deal. It wasn't a big deal, it was just something. Yeah, thank you for that, and I appreciate it.
Let's see. I know Commissioner Darren didn't mean nothing. That's great. You gotta laugh, right?
I know, whenever I write them out, I just write your first names, and I must have just read that and just didn't type.
I didn't yell though.
Maybe it wasn't, maybe I read it wrong this morning and I was looking at it wrong. No, I was wrong. That's the only thing I saw, is the time on there was not
When you
right.
guys are in executive session, I can just take that out and print them on regular
Perfect.
That'd be
paper.
great.
Thank you.
We don't
Thank you,
have to
ma'am.
redo anything for next week. That'd be great.
They were installing that entrance pipe that you called me about this morning.
I saw they had flagged it, one y'all had marked that,
Yeah,
so.
they did it Saturday, they're putting it in right now.
Well, thank you for that, she'll appreciate that.
And that deal for Mike, that if we can get a water study and the bridge is 120 foot, we got some big enough pipe to handle it, that'd be great. If we get rid of one bridge and do that, that'd be just perfect.
My fault, let us know.
But you know that, the thing is, on the other bridge, though, if we can have it done in a month or two, I don't know.
So like on a deal like that, does that other guy have to come down and get it? With
My
my
water study.
Chad, the
Chad,
engineer,
yeah.
Chad. Yeah, I was gonna call him.
when we get done today and see what all that was. I mean, he did all of those.
Yeah, he did already.
And it's software that he has, so he takes the measurements and punches it in. So basically it'd be to see
His
what
part's
his
finished.
price would be
Yeah.
for one.
I think on that one, that on Night Road though, we got it processed to get rid of it, right? I mean, we got that,
Yeah.
and that's a month or two.
Well, that's.
But he wouldn't have
the-
looked at that, was he?
But that's for,
No, but he had the water study. Remember when he sent out that map, he knew all the water flow from all the bridges. He just clicked a little bit on his computer and he had that pulled up pretty quick.
Well, that's true, yeah.
So he had that part finished. So it won't take him much to know that. It'd just be up to Aldridge to tell us the length of that bridge and if we can pull that out.
Yeah,
but I already looked on my first map, it's a culvert, so it's shorter than 20 feet.
That one. It's one of those deals that has the planks that across it. That, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago they came through and they started putting planks across. I don't know, to strengthen them or make it to where people can pass through them.
What did they do with those old planks? Just burn them?
They take them to landfill and bury them.
Sometimes you can find them in the ditch next to the.
Well, no, I'm asking, I've got a neighbor
They
that
give them to people.
wanted like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, they give them to them.
Okay.
They're no good for now.
We only use one.
I've been bridge and pick them out.
And then just put it on regular paper and bring it back in.
Chris, look,
How you doing?
Wait for 10 o'clock.
we've got to open a bid at 10 o'clock, so we're sitting around looking at each other wondering what.
Holding pattern.
Yeah.
Is right down our way, is he enjoying his New Year's there? Down below?
He did not like the steering wheel at all. So I haven't talked to him today. I think he was happy to get the joystick.
Okay.
Is it just not comfortable with the steering wheel, or what's the deal?
He said he didn't have enough power.
I've heard that from
It was
some of them.
140, I think it would have plenty of power. He just used to more power, I guess.
So if he wanted to get some of those planks, where'd he go out here to the landfill?
Yeah, there should be some out there now.
Did you dig through the trash?
Yeah. I know where there's some out there, but I told him just get some of them burned.
Yeah, I know, picked up a whole bunch of those after they tore out a big one time. Just,
Yeah, he used to build fence and stuff with his crowd.
Close enough.
yep. Okay, let's open that bid.
Just ditching over there.
Yeah.
Brad, did you want to move on? Thought we got something to plan.
Nope, done planning.
This is from Wichita Concrete.
Stock concrete pipe. You sent out 3 of these, 2 of those?
Two.
These have a letter.
That's for the box, or what?
Oh, he sent it, yeah, for the box. They just sent back the bid request.
This must be the letter you sent.
That's what I sent, yeah.
Okay, this is an 8 foot by 6 foot RCV LRFD 96-foot standard joint. And they've got a lot of weird numbers and stuff stuck, so I don't understand what's what here. But this one looks like $11,109.06. And this next one is the 8 by 6 RCV LRFD design with hub guard. And it is for $8,144.04. Got foam gasket for $343, 4 of them, and toe wall for $800. That's 2 of those. So that looks like a total of $20,396.62. Valid for 60 days.
How
That's
tall
what
are they?
Height, they're 8 foot by 6 foot. So
6 foot tall.
it's quite a bit for that place. If you remember driving through that place, it's not
Yeah.
Right, but they have to be buried.
right so
Certain.
far. So it doesn't say anything about litter on that. Did the letter mention it?
No, it's her letter. It's her letter.
Oh, okay.
This is your letter?
Yeah, that's just the request I sent out.
What is 44,000?
Should have delivered prices.
We'll be able to
That's
pick
what I
those up and move
requested.
around with our excavator, won't we? It will be
Right, which
good
is
for us.
44,000?
We got two excavators, we need them.
Right, that's what Chad suggested, to get both of them.
Yeah, 'cause I don't
So
think
you get one to pick up and then the other
That's 20 ton.
piece of bridge number and uses it, push it into place, so.
That's what it's saying, man. Some of those get pretty heavy. Okay, do you guys wanna wait till next week to approve that, or you wanna make a motion to approve that now, since that's on the list?
We got a million budget for that, right? For bridge, we do,
For bridge, we do. yes.
special bridge.
Mhm. And this
And that's
is-
what he
this is-
recommended, right? That's what the.
Yes, that's what he recommended, because for the size of that, 'cause those are really long.
And he's putting a couple tubes in other than that, if I remember right.
Yes, we'll put two 24-inch tubes on either side of it for additional drainage.
Well, I'm all, we can't go and approve it.
Yeah, I think good, if it's only one, it's pretty cut and dry right there.
I'm good with, as long as it's what he wanted us to put in.
Yes, yeah, he gave me the exact specifications.
Okay.
So I need a motion, or I'd entertain a motion, to purchase the pipe from, or the concrete tube from Wichita Concrete and Pipe. Total cost is $20,396.62, and this is for the Cather Bridge.
So,
Jeff made the motion, all in favor? Aye.
Can you give us a date, like any time?
Yeah, we'll call them today, so I'll approve the fix the order and then tell you guys.
And
what
another
that
thing
is.
is, I want to figure out ways on 20 tons off that trailer.
what, do they
Right,
allow us
so-
to pick it up or what?
It'd be us to pick it up.
No, I mean, the
On top probably.
on top, sure they do.
They had to load it somehow.
Right, well, I mean, that's the overall weight, so they are 14,000 pounds a piece.
Okay.
So-
Yeah, we can handle that.
Yes, that's why he specified that 6 foot, 8 by 6 foot instead of the 8 by 8 or whatever the other one was, because they're too heavy, so.
Get some photos of it. Get some put on the other two.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Have a good week, guys. Make sure to pat those guys on the back. Thank you, Mike.
I had Bailey take that 20 minutes out, so you can read over it and see if you like it.
Thank you, man. Pat, Krista, Jan, you guys wanna come on up?
Bring a chair. We'll take 5 minutes this one.
We're gonna take a break.
5 minutes.
Yeah, sure. Darren, you can take a little break.
5 minutes, we'll be right back.
You making that motion?
Yep.
All in favor? Aye.
Yeah, get your chairs up here anyway.
Look at that.
Step right up to the table.
See, we're letting that have the big chair.
Big squeaky chair.
Oh, really?
Well, Jason, that game wasn't bad. It just came out weak the first half.
First half killed.
Yeah, the second half, they really,
Keep saying, I think it might have been a different story if they wouldn't have to travel 2 weeks in a row.
I
And the
know.
whole reason they had to travel so absurd. I just, I don't understand why you would do that to kids.
I know, how come Boyd got it at home 2 weeks in a row?
Because after the first 2 rounds, it's seeded, so the higher seed hosts. Well, the quarterfinal round, it's whoever the team is that's furthest to the east has to travel to the west. And then the semis, it flips. So whoever's the furthest in the
Yeah.
west. And then it was so close, they had to look at the lines, and it was like 4/100ths of a point.
Yeah, I was gonna say, 'cause they're pretty,
Yeah.
pretty,
But I mean, that's just so absurd to do it
well,
like
and everybody
that.
else, like, not everybody, but I saw some schools and some places, they got to, it was almost like a neutral ground, you know, they played.
Yeah, I could understand
They
that.
played areas, you know, bigger stadiums and stuff, and in between, and that's what I felt like it should be.
Yeah, I could definitely understand that, but.
You know, the boys had to go to Hugoton one time, and I thought, you know, they're nervous on the place, and they're just the travel time alone, you just take it off. I really did, it's not fair. And then, like I said, they come out of the door first.
Yeah, I felt that. I'm afraid either one of them probably gonna get stopped by Ross. I said, I'm afraid either one of them will get stopped by Ross.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, yeah, well, they're
Instructional. Motion to reconvene.
So they,
All fair? Aye. All right. So, the reason we asked to have you guys come visit with us a little bit is the transfers are eating us alive. The long distance transfers, not the close ones, but the long distance ones. And so as Dan has gone to, oh, you have to click that button, I think, Hannah.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I just looked up and saw that. So as Jan's been out looking for new ambulances, we've actually had her go ahead and look for 2 of them. We weren't scheduled to have 2 yet this year, but she's gone out and looked for the second one because we kind of felt like it's going to struggle to find, something this year and then just get that process started to get us going. So she's not having much luck.
well, the problem is it will take, they said 13 to 14 months to get a new ambulance. We looked at a remount and we're probably looking at 3 or 4 because nobody can find a chassis to even do a remount. I guess Ford's like not making any more till 2023, and I've got some local guys that are trying to find us a chassis that will fit to work just right. I looked at some demo ambulances, which they said might become available in April. But in the meantime, we are just, I don't know, we're just having one breakdown after another, and
Well, I guess my first concern, Jan, is our people.
yeah,
We're burning them up.
yeah.
And then the second concern is down the line, if something happens to one of our ambulances, we can tolerate that. But we get a second one into trouble, then for local emergencies, we've got problems.
Yeah.
And so that's, we're just trying to think ahead, or I am anyway. These guys wanted to visit with you too.
Yeah.
But just trying to think ahead. If we get into that place, what are we gonna do?
Yeah, well, we certainly, I think we need to be partnering on some of that. And, I mean, we agree about the staff, the staff item too. I kind of felt like the transfer issue kind of been going pretty well as of late. This is the last time we kind of met. I guess there's 2 or 3 things that I would kind of think just off the cuff, just getting kind of hearing about this in this way is, one is I certainly would like to have enough information where if we can partner on some of the cost on some of these things with the trucks or whatnot, because we've talked about in the past maybe on the staff cost and that type of thing. And right now, everybody and their dog's having a tough time hiring people, so it's not just.
Not just
matter of
us.
fact, there may be a few dogs we can hire out there that'd be more available than staff, actually. That didn't come out quite right, but I think you knew what I meant. So, certainly want to hear about that and see if there's some way that we can partner on the costs. We may be in a position to kind of help with that. The other side of it is for a portion of those transfers, do we kind of revisit that idea about us doing part of it ourselves, especially the non-emergent ones, doing those ourselves. And so that actually is still kind of been on our drawing board, and they're not ambulances, they're a different type of van transport that we would do with those, and that might help with some of the stress on the system from that standpoint. But yeah, I mean, if
The
there's
local ones, I think we're all here, we're good with that. It's just when we start talking Kansas City or Hayes, or, you start getting that long distance things, that really wears on our crew.
Right.
But
Well,
for
I-
instance, yesterday, they had a blowout on a tire down by Perry.
Well, I think that unfortunately that's a byproduct of the pandemic and what's happening
Sure,
with
yeah.
hospitals and
And
stuff.
I think we understand that.
Yeah,
And we worry a little bit about, one of the things we probably need to be more, we've tried at our place, but be more vocal in the community about is buying the transport insurance, because if we don't do those, then it's gonna be a flight.
No.
And those flights are 30 grand, 40 grand, right?
Or more
Or
going
more.
out as far as they're going right now.
So that will be a pretty big hit to some people too. And the insurance actually is pretty reasonable, but still there's gonna be people that don't take that. So, you know, or I guess kind of the option 2, part A is if that we just get, you know, and become kind of the primary on the transports as much as we can. We buy our own equipment and whatnot and be kind of the primary, and we use you guys as a secondary on some of those. I mean, largely the non-emergent ones.
Well, I think for equipment, we have equipment budgeted. So but the problem is getting the equipment is on that side.
Yeah.
So the equipment's not as big of a deal to us, it's finding, excuse me, I said that wrong. The money for that is not something that we're as concerned about as
Right.
actually getting that equipment here.
Yeah.
And I guess to me, the important part of this whole thing is the staff, I think, and I don't know where that came from. Did you just send that around? Or
That, I think Casey made that up and had the crew sign it, their feelings on
Okay.
it.
So what that states is, I guess, the staff,
Some of them, I don't know that.
it doesn't look like every signature's on there, but it looks like the staff's kind of getting, that's the first I've seen of that. And I knew that there were some problems and people were getting upset. But it looks to me like the staff's getting tired of taking the long distance transfers.
Yeah, I think they're kind of getting burnt out, burnt to jam.
Well, it's just, we're having to work them a lot. Even on your day off, if you're on callback, you're in here for 8 or 9 hours because, you know, there's long distance transfer that you have to come in and call back for.
And if we lose those staff, we're gonna struggle finding somebody to fill that back.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a problem, but,
You don't see this though in for quite some time. For like.
Well, every time we think there's a lull, then it kind of picks up again. So.
Well, it's not even COVID patients that, you know, it's anybody needing transferred to a higher level of service or care
Well,
that we're having trouble
yeah,
getting to them.
but it is indirectly because the reason why they don't do some of those things at a bigger hospital maybe because they're tied up with
Well, that's not us.
COVID or whatever, or they're not have as many staffed beds because of their issues. I don't know what do you.
It's staff related
Staff.
for the most part, and, you know, these bigger hospitals are able to shut down beds because they don't have staff to take care of people, and that's just causing us to go
Sure.
out further and further.
But they also shut down
It was like
surgery.
that back when mom deal out here, you know, we tried to do the Wichita. Well, it did, but they, none of them take her.
Right,
So they're shutting down surgery.
And that was
some
because
surgery.
of staff.
exactly.
Yeah, they're shutting down some surgery though, and things like that, so that's why they have to go. I think we had an appendectomy that had to go here a few months ago, which is kind of surprising, but, you know, they had to go down to Oklahoma.
I don't think it's gonna change for a while if you watch the news. I mean, they have more information than I do, but me watching the news, I don't foresee this problem fixing this stuff for a while.
Yeah, and I was gonna pull the numbers on transfers and how many we've actually flown out versus how many, you know, local EMS has taken, because we track all of those. I didn't pull those before I came. I was busy this morning with some other things, but, I know that, I mean, they haven't been on a daily basis. They haven't even at times been on a weekly basis.
It's, we'll have a lull, as Pat said, and then they'll come in, we'll have several together, and then there's a lull, and then we have
Right.
several together, and,
And one day, you know, we can get patients into Wichita, and the next day maybe we can't get them into Wichita, so.
Well, I don't know where these two are at, but, I mean, I don't wanna be the one that says we can't transfer somebody. But then again, we have to have the equipment and, you know, the ones, I mean, if you're the one sitting there at that bed and say, hey, my kid needs to go to Kansas City, you're gonna want an ambulance there, I don't know, whatever it takes to get somebody wherever it's gotta be. I mean,
Right, and there's been plenty of those occasions where we have said, you know, we're gonna have to fly you out, because maybe we haven't had the staff, or maybe the staff is already on a transfer, and, you know, EMS doesn't have the capability at times to take these, or they're past the, mile range that has been set, and we've had to fly patients, but there's been plenty of transfers already where, you know, we've had to fly people out, and, you know, one just a few weeks ago that they were worried sick about the bill. You know, you can't, we have to take care of your spouse right now. You can't worry about the bill, because if they're not alive, I mean, you know,
Yeah, right.
so it's really just been about trying to take care of people, and
well, I
it has
want,
been.
personally, I want to continue, but, you know, on their side of that, we have to take care of our other people that's putting all these times in. We have to figure out a way to keep our equipment up to date, and you're talking years, and if we pile on, by the time we get another ambulance, by the time you pile them miles on for another year, you're talking, how many miles on, we got 100,000 on our ambulances now?
Two of them are, well, I think one's at 90 some.
So I threw, I mean, maybe I jumped in, I threw out some ideas, so what idea do you guys, I assume you guys had some ideas?
Actually, I just wanted to start talking again.
I guess my idea, my major concern is taking care of local emergencies. If we don't have ambulances running, we can't take care of that local emergency. And so that's my number one concern, other than the staffing, Jan. I want to make sure that we're not. That's pretty brutal for those people if they have been at work all day long and they get a call to go transfer to, let's say, Oklahoma City or Manhattan, and then they have to turn around. I mean, it's hard. Dan and I had a conversation yesterday when we had a flat tire. I guess I'm concerned we've gotten lucky so far that we haven't had staff fall asleep or a deer run out in front of us and cause some sort of a collision. We've gotten pretty lucky making them drive this far and not had an issue with that. But the more we do it, the more we're opening ourselves up to a problem.
Right, but I think, and I'll just be brutally honest with you, I told my staff at the last meeting, so some of these transfers, I'm gonna say if it's a transfer up to Kansas City and it's midnight, it's urgent, has to go. I told them to call in another person, take with them so that the driver gets tired or somehow we gotta figure out where the driver has to be fresh. Whether we're gonna pay 3 people sometimes to be on that transfer, or we're just gonna call in an extra person, we have to figure out something, but then also we need the staff that can do it. Cause most of them are working quite a few hours now.
So like this, here's a transfer to Eldon, Missouri. It says it was canceled due to distance. I'm assuming that was an airplane deal that came in and took those people out. Whoever that was, doesn't matter. But I mean, there was another one here back November 8th to Lee's Summit. Looks like it was canceled due to distance as well. Just guessing that's the only way that they got to those places.
For sure.
Yeah, they would have, I mean, we don't have any other ground, we've had a few ground, units that have gone a distance, but it's typically Harper County that takes those.
Didn't they
so
say
we're
here a while
flying.
back there's certain aircraft that can't land out here, right? That was brought up one time.
No.
The
not-
Children's Mercy King Air won't land at Anthony
Airport, or the Harper one?
or Harper.
So
Those are
Kingman,
interesting.
I think
The ones we had to take them to Wichita and wait for their airplane.
we've gone to Kingman, we've gone to Wichita, because the landing strip maybe isn't quite adequate enough for some. But plenty of fixed wings that land there.
Will the commercial ground transport services, will they travel? So I'm just trying to think outside the box. If we end up having to use part of that EMS budget to hire a commercial service just to relieve some of our local people, will they take transfers that distance? Or do we not? Has anybody ever?
Yeah.
I mean, they have taken them, I mean, they've been usually busy, so it's just hard to find ground, because everybody has been busy, because everybody's in the same situation.
We're the same boat with a bunch of other people.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
There's some that will only do state to state for some reason, they won't do in-state. And last I knew, there was only like one long distance left that would do in-state, and they're busy all the time.
And where are they located out of?
Yeah,
Kind of all over.
yeah, they've got units everywhere, but. And most of your long distance ambulance services, I mean, if their crew goes a certain amount of way, then they stay in a motel and sleep 4 or 5 hours before they come home. You know, and those kind of things,
And we're looking at what, $90,000 in overtime right now, close to that?
yeah,
So
we'll
we're
get 100,000.
So that too is eating us alive, so that tells you how much extra we're asking of the people all
Yeah,
the
that
time.
surprised me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not.
No, and I'm not saying
That's
that.
kind of why I brought up earlier, you know, if there's some way that we can help out, that if we know the numbers and whatnot, then maybe there's a way that we can help supplement some of that cost.
But we already talked to you about staffing. Some of it. And you are, aren't you? And you get some of your staff.
We send nurses quite often,
Okay.
and we're
We don't
taking
charge.
care of those
We don't
expenses.
charge
so-
any of that. I mean, we pay for it, but we don't. So we don't. We
So,
can
I mean, if you're already helping the staff, and so then it gets down to the vehicle. Right?
Well, I just feel like if we continue to do them, we're gonna need 4 trucks. Because we always seem to have one that's broke down or in the shop. And
How many did you say that we've done, long distances, did you say? And is that over the past 2 years basically, or is that, these are all of the ones?
I think there's 18 or 19
So we're budgeted for the
from here.
remount this year. Right?
Yeah.
Next year, we're budgeted for a
New one. But it'll be the end of next year before we can get it.
And what's your budgeted amount for the new one?
well, that's not gonna
Probably not enough compared to what they're going for, and I can't remember what that
Yeah,
dollar
they're-
is. He's got it up there.
No, that's not it.
No, that's not it.
Well, that's
Our numbers person in here today.
Well, and I'm not trying to get into your, I mean, I don't want to be in your business.
Oh, yeah,
Just give us a little bit of an idea and we may be able to come up with,
Well, that's why
Right now,
Darren suggests that you guys come in. so we can all
ease
kind of
that
visit.
money strain a little bit.
because I think we have a budget for, which I don't think it's gonna cover, 43,500.
No.
No, the quotes I've got so far, you can get kind of so one for 160, but most of them are more like 190,
I don't know if
200,000.
that's the works, that's the whole ball wax, right? That's not a remount.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that number you're looking at is probably for what we did for a
240,000
remount.
per month.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I think would be, I mean, I don't know that it matters, I'm just spitballing here, is let's just say hypothetically, we bought a truck. You guys found the one that you wanted, and we bought it, and then you guys just leased it back. I don't know, whatever we can do, even if it's $1 lease, whatever. Would that help? Would that be a viable option if we could do something like that? Because I know you said it's not the equipment, it's the staff. The staff issue is always going to be there because if you're running close to 100 grand in overtime, that means you're about 3 people short. So that's not a criticism. I mean, I get it. That's how I look at it too. Is I kind of know how much people cost. So 100 grand's at least 2 people, if not.
The problem with staffing, that mean more people though, what if it stops tomorrow, which I don't think it's gonna.
If what?
If all this stops tomorrow, which it ain't
Yeah.
going to, then you got staff for all this, then all of a sudden we don't need that staff.
Well, the old saying is, it's hard to find good help, now it's hard to find help.
Yeah, Jeff, that's pretty right. Yeah.
Because, you're right, we could get more, we've talked about that, get more staff in, and all of a sudden, a year from now or 2 years from now, it all slows down, and we got extra staff, and didn't you guys do that for the wall boot?
Well, yeah, I came in after that, and then when you say, no, we can't justify this expense anymore, then it may not even be us sitting on this board, but it's the nightmare that you have created for that next board to say, business-wise, we can't afford this anymore. And then that was a train wreck. Remember those days, Krista? And the money wasn't here to continue to do that type of a service for this area. But I was on the board and had to take all the stress of figuring out how to make things work. I don't want to leave that behind for the next group of commissioners.
Well, we got an aging population, I don't think that's gonna change, and I don't foresee the transfer numbers going down that much myself, but I'm not in the hospital position to predict.
It would help us a bunch, with like Wichita, to open back and get the staffing issues, then we wouldn't be sitting here talking. With the Kansas City, the long distance ones, if we could just get the local.
That's the problem, it's the long distance ones that work.
Yeah. Because you got people working 24-hour shifts, and so if they get a long distance transfer after they've already worked 16, 17 hours, the long distance ones, you're looking at a minimum of 8 more hours.
So staffing for you guys, if you had a staff long distance, you have the staff to do that, take it out of your hospital to do that?
Well, we have to kind of figure that out a little bit. But
At
at times we would, and times we wouldn't. But we'd have to open that back up again. I mean, we have.
Yeah, we just
We
talked about this last week,
got a couple.
and I guess it was me.
Well, part of it is to give you a heads up. If something happens to one of our trucks,
Is that an option?
these two have decided to chat.
No,
But that's why I wanted Dan to hear this. Part of it is if something happens to one of our trucks right now, so you could help with the staffing bill, that would be great. I think that would help us a bunch on long distance transfers. But something goes down with the truck tomorrow, and we're down to 2 of them, we can't do anything to get a new one in.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
we understand that.
so just to give you a heads up, my vote pretty quick is gonna say, take care of the local end of the deal, because we
It's
can't
not
take
just
the
the,
transfers.
it's not just the, right now, we've got one truck that's got a rear piston seal leak. Can't get it into the shop, nobody will fix it till the 13th of December.
And then you might not find parts.
And then that one that got hit by the deer, the body shop says 8 weeks,
Where was the deer hit?
right out there by, kind of by your facility.
No, so it's local.
Yeah, it was low.
But it took away an engine, so I mean, and
No, I
that's,
just was saying, I'm being honorary with Derek.
Yeah.
It's really-
but if
To see
that,
if he was away.
if that moment happens, we get to that point where we're down to 1 truck, we won't be able to take those transfers. It just won't work.
No,
We have to stay here.
no, we understand that. I mean, we know that that's a
Well,
reality.
and it may be the Wichita ones too, that you can't take.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I
then
mean,
we're
so,
gonna have a mess pretty quick.
I don't know how, it would be interesting to see how these long distance transfers, I mean, can you really say that they've caused all the wear and tear on these vehicles when we've done 15 of them?
No, I would say only.
I mean, we really haven't done that many. EMS hasn't really done that many long distance transfers. It's not like
Well,
that
the
we're doing
transfers
them
are
every
up,
day.
aren't they, Jen?
Transfers are up.
In
I
general.
mean, if you look in 2019, we had 13,000 miles on the truck, and 20 we had 14,000 on the truck, and so far this year we've got 14,500 on 1,000 miles on the truck. So mileage is up, and that's just transfer period.
Right.
My concern is when the weather gets bad. I guess if they're between here and Kansas City, I don't know. It was just yesterday, it was just kind of a nightmare when the truck, trying to figure out what the heck are we gonna do now.
Yeah.
I seen it get car fixed. I agree with Chris though, it's miles and miles, no matter which way you do it, right? It could be Wichita, you went to Wichita 4 times and went to Kansas City once, it's still miles. I mean, we're just putting miles on truck.
Yeah, but put yourself in the people.
But I can get another truck to Wichita, or I can get somebody to pick that crew up in Wichita pretty quick. If I gotta find somebody to get them in Kansas City, a little different. And if we gotta get that truck towed back here, or whatever, it's a little different. So.
Well, guys, we're open to help fix whatever. I mean, I
Well,
kind of
yes,
wish. Well, yeah. I mean, we're in it because patients are. It's the patient. But
My biggest concern is our staff, getting burned out, just stressed out all the time.
Yep.
And that's happening out there too for them. I guarantee it. You've probably got staff that are tired of the whole mess.
Yeah.
that's probably
Isn't
not
that
the
way
thing
out
that bothers them. We're going through.
Is-
Somewhat.
Is what?
Are they getting burnt out?
I mean, we've been maintaining pretty well. I mean, for whatever reason, we've been pretty fortunate with staffing.
Yeah, I mean, your staffing's not like it is in the hospital.
Well, they're not burnout related to the work. They're burnout related to the pandemic.
Is that,
The
because,
middle.
so that's the problem in the big hospitals. in
Well, no, it's
right?
kind of hard to, I mean, no, what I'm trying to explain is, unless you live in that healthcare environment, and I've been in this 3, 4, 5 years, and you've been in it a while, your world's upside down. Nothing works the same. Everything, there's some delay on, and there's staffing shortage in different areas that impact other departments, but it isn't so much the volume as it is the different things that keep coming out, whether it's the mandate or whatever, that we don't really have a big choice in. So that drives people's, emotions on stuff as well. So I think if we didn't have anything else and it was a volume issue, our staff would be happier. Probably. The pandemic, wears on us. It wears on the general public, and I don't want to discount that, but unless you've worked in healthcare for a long time, you don't understand the impact it has on the day-to-day people that work in it and why they even got into it. There's people questioning why they even got into it now, but
And I talked to Holly Noble over at Advocate the other day, and that's what she was talking about. She gets exposed, and then their kids have to go to grandpa and grandma's. And that's pretty hard on a mom, a young mom with little kids that here she is spending so much time, and then she's filling in at the hospital quite a bit because they've got shortages over there apparently, and away from her family. And just like you said, questioning, she didn't say this, but I'm sure in her mind, what am I doing?
Yeah, so it wears on folks in that way. I mean, you
It's
tell
a
me
mental-
if I'm
it's-
characterizing it different than what
no.
Jeff was, I'm not
It
arguing with
becomes,
Jeff, I just,
it's become more of a mental challenge than
Yeah.
anything, and which becomes emotional and then can also become physical. While the whole world fights over COVID and a vaccine, and, you know, we're just trying to take care of people.
so that's probably the bigger,
I think if we
Stressor
could
than-
disperse,
For sure.
if we had the staff to disperse more, the staff would be better about it, but we don't.
So we talked about that though, 'cause we brought that up. Your overtime was so much money, we was talking about more people. But we can't have our time.
But then we look at the shortages the state of Kansas says EMS is in, and it's gonna be hard to find them.
well, I don't know, I mean, we're open to listening to what you guys come up with. Now, one of the reasons too, to kind of stay in touch, and this isn't a criticism at all, and it's on my end as well, is, you know, when we had a pretty good truckload of money, I mean, obviously we got way more money than most people got, you know, a lot more than say a county got on COVID. You know, we could have probably finagled away legally to buy probably a couple of trucks. You know, I think we probably could have made that, easily made that a legal deal and purchased some equipment, that type of thing. Still doesn't necessarily solve the staffing thing. I mean, there's several prongs to the problem, but, you know, so keep us involved, because we get hit up on, there's still money that's kind of coming out of the feds, and that we get access to, that we may, you know, if that's something we decide that would be one way to alleviate the pressure, that we take that off, and we can do, you know, maybe sign-on bonuses or different things like that to maybe attract folks. I don't know how your guys' works, but then we take the equipment piece off on it because it fits into a square peg around the hole on grant dollars and federal funding that we get. Then we're all game for doing that. We just, you know, we probably, you know, that we don't always know kind of what that's all about. You know, what your guys' needs are. So if that's worth anything.
I think in the short deal, we're wearing people out.
Yeah, we are.
And I don't know how much longer we can keep squeezing them to do that, Jim.
I don't either, but you know, they're just like everybody else. They're, as Darren pointed out, they don't want somebody that really needs to be someplace not get someplace. But yes, they're frustrated and they're burned out and they're stressed out.
So they want to get home to their families at the end of the day too, and not
Yeah, and
But I don't know how much of that is related to long distance transfers.
transfers in general, like total transfers.
But the staff,
The job period.
the staff, when you talk to them, they're concerned just like the Billis
Do we
Indians.
have any openings in your department now?
Is the long distance. Do we have any openings? Right now, as far as the budgets go, we're fully staffed full-time. And we have openings for a couple of part-time, but
Did we talk about that overtime? Maybe something you talk about again?
Yeah. Hiring 1 to 2 people to take care of that $100,000 overtime.
We just maybe spend it differently, but yeah.
What is overtime typically in a year for staff, Jim?
well, in the past, it's been probably more around 65, 68.
Okay, so you've got an additional 30,000 in overtime.
It's not unusual the last few pay periods, we've had people that have had 45, 50 hours overtime on top of the regular, so we got people putting in a lot of hours.
We're game, we're game to help out. You just shoot us an idea. I mean, I don't think there's any bad ideas in this thing. We're outside of the playbook now, if you haven't noticed.
That's why
I do think though, if we do have a truck go down, that's going to have, all of a sudden, we're going to have other problems. And so I don't know that any of us can figure out how to fix that equipment issue
Well,
right now.
we can do, we can do a little bit of looking too, see what traps we can run in our networks and see if there's anything. And like I said, I mean, it may be maybe the way to do this is we take an equipment cost and you guys refangle the budget so that those dollars can maybe be used for sign-on bonuses and things like, different ways to pay people that are legal in your system. I don't tend to give you a suggestion I don't know anything about.
We've got some, we have
You know
some in
that
place
same.
already, some of that.
Because, I suspect that when we have some pockets with this labor shortage the way it is, we certainly have some pockets where we've had to re-examine how much we pay. We're fixing to change our wages in a big way on some of our things.
Yeah,
We can't
first
find
year.
cafe help and janitorial and some other things, and they're just as vital to our deal as anybody. So if we can free up one part of the budget because it fits into what we can do a little easier than supplying staff. I mean, we can maybe look at figuring out supplying staff too and do a lease back thing. We've talked about that before. That's always on the table. So.
But that would be a temporary deal. If we do a buyback or a lease back, whatever you said, maybe some of your staff, that would alleviate some of the stress that may be on some of your people on those long runs. And
well, if we have qualified staff too.
yeah.
I mean,
And then that could be something that could be shut off. Let's say 6 months from now, that's done. That could be something that could be shut off pretty quick.
but if they're not qualified, then we'd have to go find qualified help, just like you would. So that's kind of the deal. But we're game to listening to that.
I will say too that these EMTs and these medics have done, I think, a great job through the pandemic, through the high ends of it. Their willingness to do what they can to help take care of people. These techs and these medics need to be commended by more than just the director. They need to be commended by our community, by you all, by the commissioners, because what they've done is to be respected. And in my opinion, they are the ones that deserve the thanks for being on our front lines. My staff in the ER, I still consider us frontline as well. But these techs and medics that have been out picking people up off the streets and day and night, every single day, they're the ones to be commended, guys. They're the ones that deserve the thanks.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes appreciation in
Recognition.
whatever way that comes, trust me, it goes a long way with your people. It just does. I don't know what you can do or how you can do it, but it goes a long way.
Well, and maybe if we could alleviate a little bit of burnout, but we can't find a way to let people have their vacation time.
Yeah, you've got quite a few that could use it.
Oh, yeah.
We had Ben wants to visit you guys, so when you come in, we was talking about last week, and, we decided we're gonna talk about it, we have you guys here with us.
Sure. Yeah. Anytime. Just call.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks,
it.
guys.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Take care of you guys out there.
I need you to look at that just because you're over EMS. It's just a billing company, it's standard issue. I had the county attorney look at it, he said it was okay for me to sign it, but just don't.
And this is for the new people that are doing our billing for
Yeah.
us?
We need to talk about that.
Please sign your name inside the box without touching the lines.
Gee, you got me good
gosh.
I've got a crayon.
Yeah.
Do we need to visit with her about those deals again? We talked about that.
We need to, Amy's got some information for us, or she was gonna work on it, I don't know, she may not have time to put it together on
What was this for?
taking care of the first responder.
I have information.
Sure.
Okay. So can Jan stick around and be a part of that discussion?
That's fine, it'll be an executive session,
Okay.
because we've got non-elected people to talk about it, and I also need Mike in one too.
So yesterday, they limped it to Walmart, who was gonna put 2 tires on the track.
Yeah.
And then they had the wrong size, so we took a dually off, the inside tire off, and they limped it from me back to Anthony.
On the outside wheel.
Yeah, and then we got the co-op. come out and put a couple tires on for us so we can get it back in service. Just
Are
so-
you're using the high pipe tires, right? Not the rear wheel tires?
Well, I think we've had such a tire issue, I think that's something we need to look
Anything
into.
else on there but a size up?
Cause we
10
just,
wide or?
I was gonna say, Lee, yeah, 10 block for sure, yeah.
seems like this year we're
You're
having.
wasting your time putting
Yeah.
put good tires on it. I'm just telling you, it's gonna save you money in the long run.
Dan, do you need this back right now?
No,
I can do it right quick and you can take it with you.
but it's up to you.
Hold on.
Make sure you don't touch that box.
Yeah, I gotta, do I have to sign that big or just don't touch the sides?
I'd write a little bitty one.
I think that was for if you did it electronically.
No.
Mention.
Should ask you guys for a motion to put my signature on here. It's for the Change Healthcare, appointment of Change Healthcare provider attorney, in fact. Can I get a motion to sign
So
that?
moved.
All in favor?
Yeah, listen, then you guys get the white out.
Did you vote yes for that?
You already signed it.
Thank you, Dan. Are you up next, Amy?
Yes.
And what do you need? You need the executive sessions to start with, or you got other stuff to do before that?
Well, we've got public works evaluations to
Okay.
finish up, so that's why Mike is here. And I thought we could maybe get those out of the way, unless you wanted to talk wages.
Can we take care of Jan while she's here so she can scoot out of there? I know, Mike, you've got things to go do too,
And with that, I've got different scenarios, so we can discuss the scenarios in open, but if we're gonna go into specific employees, we would need an executive.
but are you doing specific employees?
I've got a list.
Okay. What do you guys want to do?
We'll give us the scenarios first. And then
You want to do scenarios first and then,
Sure, works for me.
all right with you?
Okay.
Dan, you wanna come here? This is about your people, isn't it?
Pardon?
Okay, so last week, we all asked me to put together some different ideas, and I will also tell you, I have had 2 other department heads come to me asking about this.
Don't fail.
Alright. Sorry, I got a lot to go on. Okay, so some different things. One thing I put together was information that gives you the, like if we were to bonus by position for our first responders in the group that we discussed last week for the sheriff's office, the jail, and EMS. Okay? So this spreadsheet shows, here are yours. This shows if we just by position, the front page,
Does that have names on it?
it does.
You want executive session to do that?
Probably we should, because whatever we put out here in open session is open record, correct?
To a certain point.
So I think there's some stuff that you can put some employees out there, but.
You can talk about that in open session, but it doesn't become a public record.
Right. So as long as you have it in our hands, that's, as long as nobody mentions the name.
We're okay then?
Yeah.
All right, okay, so this first one, what this one is the first page is sheriff and jail, second page is EMS, and this is if we were to just assign a bonus amount. I'm sorry, Jan, I don't have
That's
it.
great, that's good.
A bonus amount
So you can look at, oh,
based on the position. Yeah, here they are if you want. Okay, the front page is jail and sheriff, the second page is EMS. I also printed out 20, because we looked at 2020 and 2021 wages and hours. So you can see on there the overtime work. So that's a thought. That's one way we could go. Another thing that was brought to, which one? Which one are you looking at?
Well, I don't know why you would differentiate between what the level of certification is, because they all did the same amount of work.
So you'd rather see it all be the same?
put the time in, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have somebody to drive as well as be in the back on all this stuff, so.
So you would just prefer to just use one amount?
Yeah, I don't think you should differentiate
Across the
between
board.
the cert levels.
Okay.
He still with us?
I've seen him around, I don't know what he does. Not much, apparently, by the dollar amount listed there, he's not doing a whole lot. But he was here during that time.
We'll talk about it later.
Everybody on that list is a current employee.
Really?
And this is from 2020 to 2021.
But I did remove the terminated people,
Okay.
unless you would want to bonus people that are no longer employed.
No.
Okay. Okay, another thing, Jan brought this to me last week, which I thought was an interesting concept, was premium pay. So some facilities are doing, for the next 6 months, they're increasing wages. So what I put together is another spreadsheet, and this is just for EMS.
With COVID money.
Yes, with COVID money. So it would be premium pay, it would be temporary. So I put together spreadsheets, and I think,
I would rather just do it bonus like we did.
so what this also gives an incentive for them to stay though. Because,
Or continue
Or
to
work.
yeah.
Get to work. Jan's got some more
Well,
work.
I've got two different options here. One of them, and again, it's based on, these are based on cert level, so we can make that change too if that's something you're interested in. But a lot of wages are going up in surrounding healthcare facilities because they are short. There aren't enough nurses, there aren't enough CNAs, there aren't enough LPNs, so they are raising wages to try to get people to come in. So this might help us be a little bit. This might help us be more competitive though, to keep our people on. So these spreadsheets show the projected increase effective January 1st plus a premium pay of, just depending on the level. And then I also had another option brought to me. Christina in dispatch has seen different things in her listservs, and one thing that some of the other people around us are doing are they are paying X amount of dollars in hazard pay for all hours worked in 2020. So whatever you worked last year during the big COVID outbreak, regular hours, not overtime, but regular hours are being compensated. It'd be more like a bonus. And I've got that too if that's something you're interested in. I did countywide and I also did first responders. And I did include dispatch on this one. She is the one who brought this one up. So we've got some different options. There are a lot of people being creative with how they're doing this sort of thing.
Jan, are you okay if I talk about you out loud?
Sure.
Personnel stuff?
Sure.
She's getting screwed. That's just the easiest way to put it out there, you know? And I've known this for a long time, but after I look at this, on black and white, we're taking advantage of her. And I know has not been fair to you, it continues to not be fair to you, and you're not gonna say anything about it, are you?
Probably not. But, when you talk about hazard pay, it's not going away. It's never changed from the day COVID started till now. Hazard has not changed for EMS, and it's not going to. And the number of hours required by myself and some other department heads by the time you got equipment and you just try to deal with policies and all the freaking issues that never seem to go away. It's just constant. It is a constant. Yeah, the last year has been tough. I'm not going to deny it. It's been.
But in the end, it's all
incredibly
falling
hard.
back on your shoulders, and you're not getting anything more for it because you're salary.
Well, and like on these, they're blank because we'll have to set an amount for our salaried folks. That's why.
Bro,
There's
yeah,
no
I
amount
know,
for
but
her.
I'm looking back on all the hours that she's dumped into this
Yeah,
thing.
it's not been compensated.
We've taken advantage of it, and I feel horrible for that, Jan.
Well, I don't know that you took it. I mean, it's
That's why we're
just something that
talking about
happened.
this though. That's the reason why this is.
Well, I know it's something that happened, but we should have been on the ball a little bit better in the last year or so and been figuring this out, Jan, because
Yeah, but nobody knows.
Well, we have discussed hazard pay in the past. We've discussed it. It just has never made it past that point.
well, I know so the salary deal, I think we need to adjust that and take care of her accordingly, because I think for every hour that an employee has put in, you've been right there with them, I feel like, Jan. Because if something goes wrong, guess who has to deal with it?
Yeah.
So, you've been quiet too long, I think we probably need to hear from you a little bit more on. So guys, I'll just publicly say that I think we probably need to make sure we really take care of Jen and the salary folks in this deal, not just the hourly people.
Is that her salary wage right here on front?
I'm gonna leave that on there.
That one?
That's from 2021, 2020 and 2021. So that's the last couple of years. Here's her,
Which one again?
on this page,
Oh,
you can see her salary
That one,
rate.
wages, and that's just to date this
She's the
year.
top one on one of those lists.
And that's regular wages, that's before taxes are covered,
Right.
I mean, that's just your gross salary.
Right. But just like yesterday, you weren't working yesterday, but you were working yesterday.
yeah.
This is a lot of information.
Yeah, it's good.
So, this would come out of the,
ARPA money, unless we can find a grant otherwise. And Melinda does, I mean, she's studied that ARPA, and there's some definite stipulations to it. You have to be able to justify it, you have to be able to show increase in your duties, you have to, you know, that your job has definitely been impacted from it, not just interaction with people, but you're working more hours, you're going further, you're
they
doing more.
got that.
We definitely can with EMS. I mean, that's a definite yes.
But can it be used on bonuses?
Yes, well, if it's considered, hazard pay or the, what's the,
That's what it was there for.
premium pay, yes. But again, we have to be able to justify, because when that audit does come, we want to be able to say, this was the increase in hours worked, these were the miles, these were the
Well, I
costs.
think she's got miles and
Yeah.
transfers and.
Mhm. We'll have to be able to do that for every department though that we do this for.
That's why.
And we haven't even begun to break down extra cleaning and the disinfecting.
Right, and all of that counts, I believe.
All the,
But again, if we are gonna extend this to different departments, they're gonna have to be able to show that as well in order for us to be okay in our audit. Again, I feel like EMS is a no-brainer.
I think you're gonna struggle with like dispatches and then to justify that. I don't think that's gonna work.
It might though, I'll read the ARPA stuff, I'll take some of that home. And touch base with Melinda and see if we can figure out exactly what the requirements are.
What's this,
I would-
what's this sheet for? What does it read?
That one is, that's what Christina proposed.
Okay.
And it is premium pay for hours worked last year. She had seen some other services, some other areas where what they have done was they took all regular hours worked in 2020 and just paid an extra $4 on top of those as a bonus. Just because for like a hazard pay.
well, it was emergency management, I mean, besides her being busy, I know she also probably does have access to other places,
Yeah.
more than I do.
That's got everybody.
The top list is first responder list, so that's gonna be your EMS, jail, sheriff, dispatch. And then the second list is just everybody.
There's no way to win this deal.
So you're talking, this one here is substantially more, right? Because this is.
Well, not necessarily, because it looks like a lesser amount.
I'm not reading it right.
That's true.
I know, hold on, right here.
I saw that too.
Because this
That's
is
2 years. That's 2
positions
years.
here, this number here, wouldn't that be the total number there?
Yeah, this though is by position, so this is using different bonus amounts. It's just paying a bonus.
Think this is their, for their salary?
Yes.
So that's what it was, yeah.
There's what I thought. would be
Well,
right.
this has,
Go in your
Jail
bathroom,
sheriff.
lock yourself in there
Second page
for
is
4
EMS.
hours.
So I just
You
add
have
these two
nothing to
numbers
eat,
together,
nothing to
right?
drink,
yes,
and you
and
have
if
full
you want to
PPE
include
on.
dispatch.
Yeah.
you'll have
When
to
you
wait
tell me
back
you've
this
done
year.
that for 4 hours,
And then
I don't like to be in the back of the truck.
Compare these two, it's substantially more.
And then have the stress of taking care of somebody on top of that.
I
Then
know
we've
things
talked
are
about-
different.
we've talked
10
about
degrees
having
outside.
some names on that, somewhere along the line.
Point well taken.
We need to talk about a few people with her in here, or we need to, or we just wanna leave it general for now?
Do you want to think about it this week and touch
I wanna
base
get it
on
done quick, I'm tired of thinking about it, I wanna get it done quick and get money into their hands. Because, you know, think about what's coming up, they got Christmas coming up and stuff, if you needed the extra bonus money, if we can make it happen quick enough, that's what I'd like to see. And I don't know what we have to do next, we have to decide on the level, which way you're gonna go with. I don't like this one as much. My opinion, I tend to like this version, if you can see.
Yes, that's the one based on position.
Yeah. And that's my opinion. This is the one that stretches it out and still continues to give them that.
Yes, this would be premium pay for the next 6 months.
Which I understand what Jan's saying there, because that allows us to continue to have people that want to stay here and work and get paid as they're.
Yeah, and not be lured away by other people. Because Sedgwick County's short too. It's very
I'm
short.
not, it's what you're there.
And I'm tending to lean to what Darren's saying over here, just one bonus, clean, shuffle, done.
Just a bonus.
Doesn't help to continue to have them get hours and stuff.
It would show some appreciation.
But
So I guess-
still, a bonus. Get hazard pay and more than.
Power money.
Do we need to check into that and make sure that we're okay with spending the money on this, like this?
We can do this. That's part of what it's for, is to pay out like hazard pay bonuses, premium pay. That's fine. We just need to make sure we're good with everybody that's been designated.
Okay, and so right now, there's roughly, what, $500,000 there to do that? Well, not yet, we don't have, we got that this year, it'll come next year.
That's what Melinda said. We've got about 500,000. We'll get 500,000 more.
You want 5 minutes or so, so we can talk about some names, or you just wanna, cause we may wanna make a few adjustments on these people maybe?
Well, I don't want to make adjustments to people, but I think the salaried people, I think we need to make sure that we're taking care of that. That's the one I want to make adjustments to. So do we
5
need
minutes, how about 5 minutes
With Jan.
with Jan?
So you're asking for
No, we got personnel, 5, 10, 13.
probably.
Well, I don't have to push that button again, so if you think it's gonna take longer than 5 minutes.
I don't.
She doesn't know.
I mean,
What do you want, Darren?
Go 10 minutes.
Darren's making a motion to go into executive session. The subject to be discussed will be personnel matters. The justification for closing the meeting is to discuss personnel matters and non-elected personnel. The open meeting will resume at, you said 10 minutes?
Yeah.
11:08 and 11:09 in this room. All in favor? Aye.
We get the people's name there, get everything done, and we get it signed off, and let's go.
Make sure she pushes that button.
I'm
Serious.
telling you, it's serious when he gets,
I'll make a motion to extend for
you
10
hear
more
us
minutes.
yell, you know what?
All in favor?
Aye.
How much longer was
10 minutes.
You better set your clock.
You want a chair? Mike?
There's chairs out there for driver's license.
Obviously, you left your sheet, but those are in.
Thank you,
Oh,
Dan.
sorry.
It's okay.
Thanks, Tim.
All right.
Went in the whistle before you made the motion.
My notes.
No, not really. I mean,
You sit there.
Which one?
I'm making a motion to give a bonus to our EMS, jail, and sheriff's office for 10%, and the department heads at 15%
Of their
2021
Wages today.
wages today.
There we go, good motion. So Jeff put that motion on the table, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I'll say aye.
Two opposed.
No.
Then go, defer yes?
Yep.
Okay.
You said 15 for department heads?
Yes,
So it was unanimous?
unanimous, yep. If you can get those done, probably next week before we can sign those, right?
Yeah, you can sign on Monday.
Okay.
Is
That'll
that
work.
okay? And then they'll be on the December 10th check.
Okay.
Is that all right?
No.
That was stated that
That was EMS, sheriff, and jail.
Yeah, it'd be the hazard pay.
due to hazard pay. Front lines, whatever you want to call it.
It's okay.
All right, do you want me to go ahead and do my update, or do we want to get Mike's evaluations done?
Let's get Mike done, he needs to go.
Okay, we've got 6 of them to
Even
do.
Mike said
You might put that in the minutes too, Hannah.
What?
on the hazard pay.
Okay.
You said that'd be the December
December 10th check.
check. Okay.
Now,
That's
is
good.
that hazard pay or hazard conditions?
Hazard pay.
For the
That probably includes hazard conditions, you think?
Same kind of deal,
Yeah.
hazard pay for it.
Whatever you think the wording's right, I guess, I mean, it's basically the same
I just
thing.
wanted to be, I want to reflect what you guys,
It'll be hazard pay for working in hazardous conditions.
Okay.
I mean, that's,
Yeah.
due to COVID, that's what it's all from, so.
I think that's a better
There
explanation.
you go. Okay.
Okay, so we've got 6 evaluations to do for Public Works.
So we need
If we can do it in 20 minutes, 30 minutes?
probably 30.
I would think it'd take at least 30.
Yeah, I think it's 30 probably.
It'll take at least.
Talk fast.
Jeff, you wanna make that motion?
I will.
Jeff made the motion to go into executive session, subject to be discussed with personnel matters. Justification for closing the meeting is to discuss personnel matters and non-elected personnel. The open meeting will resume in this room at, 11:53. All in favor? Aye.
So Mike's gonna stay.
Yep, Mike, thank you, Bill.
Might want to chair this time, John.
Darren made a motion to extend. All in favor? Aye.
Nice.
What, we got 10 more minutes, right? 10.
Dan?
Okay, Jeff made the motion to extend for 15 minutes. All in favor?
Jason, next time we'll just say an hour. We'll cover it.
Right?
Go eat lunch.
You said Jeff motion?
Jeff did, yeah.
We'll push your button. We'll start the time as soon as you push the,
There you go.
you got it going.
Yep, if you touch it, I think, yeah.
not here.
No action on
Did
that.
you guys go to the,
We did say how much on the bonus, right?
Yep. Okay, AP guys, we got a thing. Are you finished? You got?
No.
Oh, sorry, Amy. That covered you up trying to get out of
I'm
here for
gonna
a
head to an
second.
executive session today, but most of it was those emails. Okay, I have 2 personnel status forms. This one is for the senior center director. You guys looked at it last week, but no signature got put on it. Also, this is a change for the treasurer's office. I don't remember if you looked at that one or not.
who signed that?
That's yours.
Is it?
We talked about it, because I didn't know, we didn't say if she was gonna take it or not.
She is, that's a change, so I have posted the shared services position for EMS in the treasurer's office. So that's happening,
Do I date
Is
this
that-
last week or did I?
Is that one lady we talked to, have you mentioned maybe with her thing?
I did let her know about it, so,
Was she,
she's interested in
she'd
it.
be good at it?
Yeah, so it's in there, it's, okay. Next, I
I
have
think,
3,
you think she'd be good at it?
I think she would. Yeah,
She
and I
did
did
that
let her
position
know.
once.
Yeah, she did. I let her know about it too, so she said to submit her application, so hopefully we'll get a couple more to those interviews. Employment or performance evaluations, I emailed you a couple of these, and then the third one.
Now, that position would be, they'd be interviewing that, right?
Yeah,
And so,
Jan and Michelle.
okay, okay.
Okay, these are 2 for the jail, 2 evaluation, thank you. For the jail, and then this is an evaluation for, public works. And I didn't, yeah, it says on there where you can, or not public works, Department on Aging.
Our deadline date must be working.
December 2nd, people are doing a good job, they really are.
Attach money to it, and it's gonna be all right.
They're
It's
trying.
just the way it's gotta be done. Well. Only one thing doing.
Yep.
What'd you say?
Last talking, there's only one thing doing.
You had asked me last week to look into K-Camp coverage for our graders. James is our main adjuster at K-Camp, and he says they'll be covered for damages even without the belly pan, so we're okay with those.
So we're not,
I don't want to sign this to you guys like that.
Yeah,
we're not gonna
right,
write
or no? You can.
We don't need to, he said it was just.
Right. We're not gonna get that belly pan then, right? It's not gonna cost us anything to do without it.
James says it's fine, they'll still be covered.
Oh,
If there's
really?
damage even without the belly.
So we don't need it then?
So I don't know why we do this.
Nope.
Do we need to relay that to Mike, or
I can email him and let him know if you want.
you might let him know?
Amy, the one question I have on this one in particular, and I haven't seen these others yet, but
Yes.
5's concerned.
Yeah.
5's better excel.
Mm-hmm. Who is, well, I know. One of them.
And then this one's the same deal. Yeah, that concerns me because
We didn't need that very many.
in my mind, a 5 is
Yeah. This
above.
department has been running with 2 people for a while, so.
Okay, but there's a lot of departments that have kind of had that sacrifice too
Right,
lately.
right.
This is nice. This is nice and big.
And I would,
I'm gonna have to make
probably,
it small and scan it.
I would say they're probably doing their job and doing their job very well.
You'd say they are
I would say they probably are in that department,
top performer.
but I don't know.
Employee has significantly exceeded expectations and is performing well above their current.
Yeah, that's what I said. I don't know if it's 5, or maybe 4, but you know,
What?
The fact that they're still here, that when the turnover over there has been awful.
Okay, but there's a lot of people here that are still here in the courthouse.
Yes, and you
And
should give
they're-
them 5.
And they are
deserve
quality
it.
employees, but I don't know that I even perform above a 4 most times. Or above a 3 most of the
I
time.
was gonna say maybe
I'm probably even keel on 3 most of the day.
you're doing what you're asking you to do.
There you go. It's pretty tough in my mind for me to get to a level 5.
All right, The next thing, if that's okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Can I go while you're looking
I'm
here?
getting good.
2004 Public Works Chevy truck, it hit a deer. K-Camp is recommending that we just total it with a settlement of $32.75. So I need your approval to tell them that.
$32.75.
Yeah, $3,275. The amount to fix it was,
What year was it again?
2004.
it's an 04. Yeah, as far as the Blue Book value and the different things, the average value of it's $42.75. So K-Camp has given us our $1,000 deductible.
And that's a half-ton
Pay us the
pickup?
rest of it.
Could you go buy one like that, right? I don't know any miles.
1500 LS extended cab rear wheel drive. It's got 219,000 miles on it.
Seems cheap.
Can we sent this out to get estimate on fixing it?
On repair, yes.
How many? 2?
I think she got
I mean, if the insurance company's recommending that we do this, then
Yeah, that's what K-Camp's recommendation is.
they're not gonna help us pay to fix it if that's what they're recommending.
That's it?
Real guard, radiator maybe.
Well, the estimate's right before those pictures.
Hmm?
The estimate is right before those pictures. Estimate for repair.
Do we get to take the tires off and all that in a,
I can ask you. And then what K-Camp does is they go out to see if they can sell it.
I don't know, I think that seems pretty cheap.
No, above the front end, that's why. Got an air conditioner.
Push the radiator back into the,
Got the air conditioner. We're getting along without the pickup right now.
I think so, what do you think?
Oh, good.
Don't seem like much money though. I'm just gonna say that, $3,000, it just don't seem like it.
What if you went to buy one right now?
Well, they got pictures of something on there you can buy, I think, on the first part of that. 5,000. How many miles on it, 200 or something?
219, I think.
And what are they gonna do to pick it? Is it here?
Mm-hmm. And then K-Camp will find somebody to scrap it or buy it or whatever.
That's what they'll do, they'll buy it, fix it back up, so.
For 10,000.
What are your thoughts?
I guess collect on, I mean, if that's what the insurance is telling me they wanna do.
Okay. Are you okay with that then? I'll bring the title in on Monday to be
Yeah,
signed.
I'm fine with it.
It's probably pretty close, really.
Right.
I'll take it, 209, 0,000.
Okay, merit-based increase policy. This should have been either in your folder or emailed to you. I sent it to Melinda. Since we are doing this, we still need to approve the policy on how we're going to do merit-based increases.
Okay.
And if you want to take a peek at this and talk about it on Monday, we can do that. But this is the current policy. The highlighted things are the changes, and I do have some comments on there with questions on how you want to do things. It's our pay plan policy. It talks about we do have a pay scale established. Elected officials are on the pay scale, but salaries are determined by the board every year.
And the pay increases in for approved by the board every year.
Yes, it tells you down there under pay increases. Wage increases may be given as followed: performance-based, which is what our merit-based is, cost of living, and then any other method as determined. So if you want to do an across-the-board flat, you can do that too.
Or any involved, any involved.
And that's what it says. The board may choose any one or more of these approaches. Okay, it's all based on what the budget constraints are.
And we, correct me if I'm, and we got, the raise this year came from getting rid of the positions in Road and Bridge. But Linda budgeted for some raises in there too, didn't she? And where did that money go to? Do you have it? We didn't use a lot of that money because we took it, all of it for salaries. Cause she had budgeted for a 3 or 5% raise. And we got rid of some positions and moved that next year to pay for this. So I wonder where that money went to that we did budget for it. Cause they wouldn't have used all that.
We're not done yet because of this merit-based. We
Well,
haven't
But it
established.
should, but she budgeted for 5% and we're using some of that from salaries to
Right.
cover a big portion of that. So where's that money that we budgeted, where does that go into, what account, or, I mean, that's something he asked me with it.
Well, it's still sitting out
Correct.
there in
Okay.
case we do this merit,
Okay.
because we've got room for merit on top of the cost of living. But basically what this policy does is establishes the procedure that will be used going forward to issue merit-based increases.
And the ones that are highlighted, the ones that change, right?
That's the addition to the policy.
A satisfactory or above rating may be required to receive an increase, or they may assign a percent increase for each average rating. An average of satisfactory results in a 2% increase, on average of exceptional or higher results in 3%.
It basically leaves it open to how you want to issue those. So every year you'll do your budgeting process, see if you've got money available to give increases.
Right.
And then you'll decide how you want to hand those out. If you want to do a cost of living, you can do that. You can do a combination, like what we're going to try to do next year, is a cost of living plus a certain percentage, for merit. And you can do it leaves it open to however you want to implement the merit. You could base the percentage off of their average on their evaluations. You could just say anybody with over a 3.5 average gets 2%. It leaves it up to you, though, this policy does. But it's something that you'll decide during the budgeting process for the next year.
And this is going into effect January 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it says right now, employees should be permitted a performance-based increase till they successfully complete their 6-month probational period.
And that's kind of what our plan is anyway. Everyone will get their cost of living January 1, and then next year they'll be eligible for the merit if they haven't been here 6 months as of January 1.
But some of those are going to get a pretty big increase anyway to get to the minimum.
Just to get on the scale, correct.
We can take that. Right?
Yep, this is just a draft, and I'll email it. I think you
don't need
should.
these back then.
Did you email that?
I gave it to Melinda, so it's either in your folder or it's in your packets or
Okay.
somewhere. But
Can you email that directly to me though?
Yes.
Okay, please.
I will. I'll wait to look at it.
If I got it, you surely got it.
Well, I don't know why I didn't.
So we'll
Sure.
look at it.
Probably
Sure.
Can you ask her if you can be talking to Linda this week?
Oh,
Next week?
I'll talk to her.
Can you ask her about that stuff she budgeted for? Because I know it's not going to take all that money to get the 2%. We've made up a lot of that waivers from getting rid of positions. So I want to know where that, is it staying in the general budget or where it went to?
And then the last thing was my email. You should have had it too. And this was just an interesting FYI, I thought, but it was in your packets.
Mm-hmm.
And it talks about the unemployment rate. Ours is just 3%. We've got 80 people unemployed and only one person claiming unemployment benefits. So it's not bad. Ours isn't bad at all. Sedgwick County's at 4.9%. They've got 12,000 unemployed. But anyway, this is kind of cool. The Arnold Group sends it out quarterly. And I'll just forward it on if you're interested. I think it's kind of interesting information.
It was in that.
But I think anybody that wants to help is a job right now.
Well, I think that's
Yeah. I think if you're not doing drugs and you show up to the interview, you're probably going to get a job. That's
That
the
is
key, is showing
all
up to
I
the interview.
have.
You kidding?
Really?
I know, I'm sorry. It's a
See,
big
it's
one.
about to get dark outside.
No, pretty close.
Hey, Shelly. Okay. Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
You too. Appreciate you. You
All
guys
right.
have a good week.
You too.
You too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
R&R.
All right, AP for $336,045.84. Any
I
questions?
didn't see anything on there, do you? I didn't see anything.
Okay, motion. Moved. All in favor? Aye. The November 15th minutes, we didn't approve those yet. She made the correction on here, but we need to approve those guys.
Well, But just had the one mistake, right?
Yep, she got that correct. So moved. All in favor? Aye.
Need to be back.
Good motion, Matt, did you? Okay.
And then this easement for the cul-de-sac up there, you guys remember Melinda talked about it a little bit, to widen the cul-de-sac of the industrial park, and then it needs to be filed with the register of deeds. So I need a motion,
Widen the what now?
the cul-de-sac up there at the industrial park,
Where that road goes down around, yeah.
we were gonna widen that deal, so we gotta have an easement for that, to make that work. And it also needs to be notarized, you're a notary?
Yes.
Okay. And here it is,
How wide is it?
there's the survey and stuff if you wanted to see it. I got that in right?
Yeah.
Okay.
To 70 foot? Or
Yeah, 140 by 100 by 70.
Okay.
So I need a motion for that easement dedication for the industrial park.
I'll make, so we,
All in favor?
Aye.
And Hannah, can you notarize this please?
Yes. I'm gonna go grab my stamp really
Okay. I think that's it.
well, Jason, you had withdrawals, no, sports going on, the basketball, or you had?
Got plenty of stuff to do.
Basketball started up, what, be first part of December? Well, I guess you got junior high basketball going on, don't you?
They go Kingman down there beat Beloit.
You know, 16-0 deficit kinda
Yeah.
killed them.
Yeah, but in the end, it's only a 3-point win.
Just about got it done.
Don't know that see Beloit beat Rossville.
Thank you, Hannah.
You're welcome.
I signed it, but-
You guys finished? Anything else? No more executive sessions or anything?
That's like another hour.
Yeah, it's about to get dark, I gotta go.
22nd, isn't it?
I'm hauling water to a place.
Monday, the
It
22nd.
is.
Really?
It dry as a bone down there. Went and checked on the pond yesterday. It's a mud. So that adds another.
It seems that we had, oh, that road study. Did we get something from Sheena on that road study deal? She didn't bring that up on that Back Tank Road? Yeah, that road study, they got that back. Not Back Tank, the one north of Harper there.
The cemetery.
Did you email that out?
She didn't say nothing about it today, though. She got-
Oh, yeah, I did see all that stuff.
She got
It's
this,
pretty neat little graphics and stuff on there, wasn't it?
but what did it end up saying?
Well, I didn't digest it yet. I figured somebody would talk about it here.
It wasn't on her.
I know, but if we had it, I'd have to tell her to put it on the next meeting, because it was on that email. I got to eat that road study.
No, we'll have to discuss it.
I'll go.
You finished? You finished? Adjourned?
You finished?
I'm finished.
Hannah, you got anything?
Oh, you know, I can find something if you want
It's
to.
time for my little break. You guys all have a good break. See you guys, thanks.
See ya.
Have a good turkey day. See you, Jason.
Music.